Chapter 938. Brothers spar. So this is how to play, right? Qingshan, what do you think? Lu Chongqing looked at his son, Lu Qingshan, and asked. He also wanted to see the gap between the two's strength. Since brother Chuanjin wants to spar, naturally we can. Lu Qingshan said with a casual smile. He could feel that the Lu Chuanjin standing before him was not simple, and he was also willing to exchange hands and compare. All right, give it a try, just stop when a point is made. Lu Chongqing nodded upon hearing this, and pulled his daughter, who was watching eagerly, to the side, and spoke out loud. Qingshan, please enlighten me. Lu Chuanjin was very polite, cupping his fists in a salute. Then his body shook, the 5 elements Kunping technique activated, his black magical robe moved without wind, rustling loudly, the 5 elements spiritual light flowed, transforming into a small 5-colored fish. Brother Chuanjin, no offense taken. At this moment, Lu Qingshan immediately saw Lu Quanzhen's cultivation level and greeted with a cupped fist. Although the other party was much older than him. But reaching the 9th level energy refinement at this age was still very impressive. The lion fights the rabbit with all its might. Even though it was just a sparring between brothers, out of respect, he still went all out. As soon as he finished speaking, the golden magical sword in his hand slashed out suddenly. Swoosh! A sharp sword chi tore through the air, reaching Lu Chuanjin in an instant. Hoo! Rolling 5-colored torrents surged out from Lu Quanzhen's body, sweeping up with the sword chi. However, in an instant, the sword chi burst forth with a blazing light, engulfing the torrent and shooting directly at Lu Chuanjin. But just as the giant wave was about to be extinguished, a small 5-colored fish appeared and swallowed the sword chi in one gulp. Crash! The small 5-colored fish in the air was like a great whale drawing in water, swallowing all the nature's spiritual energy from all directions, causing its body to inflate rapidly, growing to the size of 10 feet. Its fins extended, resembling a huge fish with wings, and charged towards Lu Qingshan to swallow him whole. Good shot! Seeing this, Lu Qingshan immediately laughed heartily. His demeanor fierce as his sword went forth to meet the attack. The sword light was unselfish, dazzlingly bright, countless sword chi condensed into a semblance of a flood dragon, roaring as it surged forward, stirring up layers of strong winds, aiming to tear the giant fish apart. Boom boom boom! Sword chi flood dragon and 5 elements giant fish continued to collide in combat. But before long, under the fierce and domineering onslaught of the flood dragon, the giant fish retreated step by step, riddled with holes. 5 elements Kunping technique. Lu Chuanjin gestured an incantation, with the 5 elements rotating around him, making the weakened giant fish roar, suddenly turning its huge body as if a whale leapt from the river, rising into the sky. In an instant, the fins of the fish rapidly became large and wide, turning into a pair of wings swirling with black and white, resembling a pung bird. Screech! The pung bird spread its wings, looking disdainfully majestic as it dove down, instantly tearing the flood dragon in two and opening its mouth wide to swallow all the sword light and attack Lu Qingshan. It seems that whether it's Qingshan or Chuanjin, they're both much more formidable than I had imagined. Lu Chongqing, watching the sparring before him, stroked his chin. If it weren't for the validation match today, he truly wouldn't have known the combat power of his 2 sons. After all, the system only provided feedback for his children's cultivation levels and did not reveal specifics of their combat strength. Beside him, Lu Wangshu also changed from her earlier spectator's demeanor to seriousness, watching her 2 brothers duel. Although she was at the 5th level of chi refinement, apart from the basic techniques practiced in the school, she had never experienced a true duel. Nor had she ever seen such an exciting match. The duel between the 2 was very exciting in her eyes. Very good, very good. Lu Qingshan revealed a bit of surprise in his eyes and laughed loudly. He knew that his 17th brother was much more formidable than he had imagined. Such strength, even if placed in the Jin-Yang sex sword contest, would be more than enough to break into the top 10. He continued to strike, the magical sword in his hand bursting with endless golden light, sharp sword chi. The blazingly fierce and dazzlingly piercing sword light gradually annihilated the pung bird. Lu Chongqing watched seriously, ready to intervene at any moment. If Lu Chuanjin couldn't withstand it, he would step in immediately. Facing this sword attack, spiritual power continuously surged out from inside Lu Chuanjin. But a moment later, realizing the gap between them, he immediately switched from offense to defense, making the Pung bird cry out and forming rolling tidal waves to block the sword light. And around him, whirlpools of 5 elements appeared, spinning continuously, dissolving the onslaught. That's enough, let's stop here. Seeing this, Lu Chongqing took a step forward, flicked his sleeve, and dispersed Lu Qingshan's sword qi. He could see that, although it was just a simple spar, neither of them had held back, and their exhaustion was not small. Well done. Both of your performances were quite impressive. When we go to the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, as your father, I can now rest easy. Lu Chongqing patted both of his sons on the shoulders and praised them aloud. As a parent, who doesn't want their sons to be dragons and their daughters to be phoenixes? He was no exception. Then he turned to his daughter, Lu Wangshu, and said, Wangshu, when you have time, ask your brother Chuanjin and brother Qingshan for more advice and spend more time on cultivation. Don't think about playing all the time, understand? S.E. the novel, F. Iyer. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Chongqing lectured, but his voice was very gentle. After all, his daughter might be fond of playing, but she wasn't neglecting her cultivation. I know, Daddy. Lu Wangshu puffed up her cute face, obediently responding. She poked her tender cheeks with 2 tender jade fingers, producing a pop-pop sound, looking very adorable. Then, as if she thought of something, her eyes curved up, and she smiled happily, coming to Lu Changsheng's side, holding her father's arm in a sticky tone. Daddy, how about I also ask brother Qingshan for some pointers? But if I do well and win against brother Qingshan, is there a reward? Lu Wangshu, in her pink and white dress, with her delicate face and bright and attractive features, spoke as a gentle breeze blew by, causing several strands of hair to fall on her clean forehead, revealing a pair of bright and full eyes, very charming as they moved. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 939. Brothers spar, playing like this, huh? Lu Wangshu's remark made Lu Chongqing, Lu Qingshan, and Lu Chuanjin all hold back their laughter. Ha ha ha, since Wangshu wants to seek guidance from her brother, then your brother Qingshan is of course happy to oblige. Lu Qingshan laughed heartily. If someone else had said these words, Lu Qingshan would have struck them with his sword directly. A mere energy refinement 5th layer dares to speak such words in front of him. Is this an insult? But after all, she is his own sister, and he is willing to indulge in her playfulness. Daddy, is there a reward? Lu Wangshu looked at her father with a puffed-up face, seemingly feeling underestimated. Fine, if you can really beat Qingshan, you can ask for whatever you want, Lu Chongqing said, even though he didn't know what tricks his daughter was playing. But he also wanted to see where her confidence and courage came from. Wangshu, how about this? You give me half of the reward, and I'll just admit defeat, or you can have me lose in any position you'd like, Lu Qingshan teased, clearly seeing that his sister had an upbeat personality, so he joked with her. Brother Qingshan, isn't it said in the books that sword cultivators are all incredibly staunch and unyielding? How can you do something like admit defeat? Lu Wangshu tilted her little head and spoke in a somewhat dazed and adorable manner. Although she saw that her nominal brother was not as cold and aloof as sword cultivators were said to be, she never expected him to say something like that. Losing to one's own sister is not really losing, and besides, there are benefits to it, Lu Qingshan said nonchalantly. Humph, but I, Lu Wangshu, want to win fair and square. Brother Qingshan, take this. Lu Wangshu puffed up her face as if she felt looked down upon, and her adorable fuming expression made everyone struggle to hold back their smiles. But in the next moment, shoo shoo shoo, Lu Wangshu lightly patted her exquisitely beautiful storage bag at her waist. Suddenly, a slew of talismans streamed out in an orderly fashion, and hung suspended in the air. Holy shit! Playing like this? Lu Qingshan, with a relaxed and casual demeanor, thought he'd just indulge his sister in her playhouse, curious about what skills she had. But upon seeing this scene, he was stunned, and he then looked at his father. After all, if this was how they were playing, he was not going to oblige. Lu Chuanjin, who was standing beside them, was also slightly startled, his lips twitching. He could tell that most of these talismans were superior-grade talismans and supreme talismans, and it seemed there were even a few second-rank talismans mixed in. If they fought with these, what chance would an energy-refining cultivator have? But his sister was only at the energy refinement 5th layer, and she had so many talismans, even second-rank ones? Sir, the novel fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. He couldn't help but look at his father. Isn't this nonsense? Who spars like this? And it's dangerous for you to use second-rank talismans at your current level. You might hurt yourself, Lu Chongqing said irritably. He immediately raised his hand to suppress these talismans, fearing that his daughter might activate them. After all, he saw at a glance that among these talismans, there were 36 superior-grade talismans, 9 supreme talismans, and 3 second-rank talismans. If all of them were detonated, not to mention energy refinement, even a cultivator at the foundation establishment level would be grievously injured. Daddy, wasn't it you who taught me to immediately utilize the talisman formation once a fight starts, to never give the opponent a chance? Lu Wangshu made an innocent face and said, Besides, I've already mastered the 99 Wind-Fire talisman formation, I won't hurt myself. I did teach you that, but You said you've mastered the 99 Wind-Fire formation? Lu Chongqing exclaimed, surprised and skeptical. The 99 Wind-Fire talisman formation, while just one of the basic formations in the 99 mystical talisman scripture, still required at least an energy refinement late-stage practitioner to control it. His daughter was only at the 5th layer of energy refinement, clearly unable to do so. I wanted to give you a surprise, Daddy, Lu Wangshu said. Haha, a surprise? More like a scare. That said, Wangshu, demonstrate using some low-quality talismans for me to see. If you can really do it, just name your reward, Lu Chongqing spoke, eager to know how his daughter had accomplished this. All right. Lu Wangshu's face lit up with joy, and she patted her storage bag. Suddenly, dozens of low-quality talismans flew out, forming an array in mid-air which then rapidly spun, connecting energetically to form a talisman formation. Good. Lu Changsheng's face showed delight, noticing that his daughter Lu Wangshu's mental spirit was extraordinary, no less than that of an energy refinement late-stage practitioner. Seeing that there were no targets around, he turned towards Lu Qingshan and said, Come, Qingshan, critique your sister's formation. These are all low-quality talismans, they won't be dangerous for you. Lu Qingshan, seeing that they were only low-quality talismans, was also undaunted. With his magical sword in hand, he chuckled lightly and said with unconcern, Wangshu, come on, let your brother Qingshan see how good your talisman formation skills are. Brother Qingshan, be careful. Lu Wangshu exclaimed crisply, and then rapidly performed gesture incantations. 99 Wind-Fire formation, activate. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Boom boom boom. Suddenly, the talisman formation spun around, enveloping Lu Qingshan and bombarding him collectively. Confronted with such an onslaught, Lu Qingshan did not spoil the fun by breaking the formation. Instead, his sword gleamed, creating a protective sword chi barrier, like a net, that neutralized each of the talisman formation's attacks. TSK. It's normal for the Jiang country cultivation realm to lack a talisman cultivator lineage. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to practice even if they had it. Lu Chuanjun watched the scene and felt emotional. Even though low-quality talismans only cost 1 or 2 spirit stones each, so many talismans would still cost nearly 100 spirit stones. Just to practice and experience the talisman formation once would cost 100 spirit stones. How many people could afford such an expense? Even Lu Wangshu could do this only because of her father's doting. Daddy, how was it? Lu Wangshu tilted her chin up slightly, with a bit of a proud and adorable expression. Haha, not bad. Have you been secretly practicing the mystic symbol forging divine technique to strengthen your mental spirit? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 940. Brothers Spar, is this how you play? Lu Chongqing rubbed his daughter's black silky hair, smiling as he spoke. He guessed that his daughter had spent quite some time on the mystic symbol forging divine technique for nurturing the spirit. CTH Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. I told you I fish for cultivation, Daddy. You didn't believe me, now do you believe it? Lu Wangshu said with a face full of grievance. All right, Daddy wronged you. Lu Chongqing couldn't help but laugh wryly. Besides cultivating and making talismans, His daughter also cultivated the mystic symbol forging divine technique, so he could only say that his daughter wasn't slacking and was very diligent. Or you could say, his daughter's talent in cultivation was truly exceptional, capable of multitasking. He looked at his daughter and continued, "Tell me, what reward do you want? Do you want to upgrade and recast your beloved boat or something else?" "He, I want you to make me a puppet," Lu Wangshu stated. "Making a puppet, no problem. Just tell Daddy what kind you want later." Lu Chongqing didn't refuse. His daughter had always been interested in puppets, liking to tinker with them. Or rather, his daughter had interest in puppets, alchemy, artifact refining, talisman making, and beast taming. "Dad, I'm going to the Purple Shadow secret realm this time. It might be very dangerous. Do you have any treasures for self-protection? Perhaps a few second-rank talismans, not too many. Just give me a few dozen." At this moment, Lu Qingshan stepped forward and spoke out. Lu Wangshu's mouth gaped open, shocked by Lu Qingshan's cheekiness. She had to find a reason before she could ask her father for things. She didn't expect Lu Qingshan to straightforwardly ask for a few dozen second-rank talismans. Roll. Do you think second-rank talismans are cabbages? Lu Chongqing spoke irritably. He himself only had a few thousand talismans on hand. When his son just asked for dozens, it really showed that those who don't make talismans don't know the difficulty. But still, he fished out 2 stacks of talismans from his storage bag and handed them to Lu Qingshan and Lu Chuanjun. 10 each, no more. It's not easy for your father to make even some talismans daily. Thanks, Dad. Lu Qingshan quickly accepted them, expressing his thanks. "Thank you, father." Lu Chuanjun saw Lu Qingshan accept them and naturally, didn't refuse. "Brother Qingshan, aren't you a sword cultivator? Why do you still need talismans?" Lu Wangshu asked Lu Qingshan. "Being a sword cultivator doesn't mean I can only use a sword. It's good to have many skills. If I encounter any magic artifacts that counter flying swords, I can either blast them with talismans or use them to escape." Lu Qingshan said in a carefree manner. "Isn't it said that all sword cultivators have a resolute heart, preferring to break rather than bend, charging forward undeflected?" Lu Wangshu continued to inquire. She wasn't pretending to be ignorant. She simply hadn't encountered sword cultivators before. Everyone outside said so, misinforming one another. Resolute heart, preferring to break rather than bend, refers to the sword cultivator's belief in not going against their conscience, not recoiling in seeking mercy, hence many sword cultivators are filled with pride. But many times, when one clearly can't win and can escape but chooses to court death instead, that's a sign of mental issues. Lu Qingshan explained. "Oh, I see. I always thought training with a sword would damage the brain." Lu Wangshu said as if a light bulb went off. At this moment, Lu Chongqing thought of something and turned to ask Lu Qingshan, "Qingshan, where would Chuanjun rank if he participated in the Jinyang sect's sword trial?" He had wanted to ask this question earlier, but it had slipped his mind because Lu Wangshu interrupted him. Brother Quanzhen's strength should easily make the top 10. Lu Qingshan pondered briefly before answering. "Top 10? Qingshan, what's your ranking in the Jinyang sect in such sword trials?" Lu Chuanjun, hearing this, took a moment, then immediately asked. He had just felt that Lu Qingshan's combat strength should belong to the top echelon among the immortal sects. Otherwise, the disparity in combat strength among the disciples of the sects would be too exaggerated. "I'm naturally first," Lu Qingshan replied with a suave smile. "Brother Qingshan, you're really amazing." Lu Wangshu was somewhat surprised, just realizing how powerful her adoptive brother was. After all, achieving first place, no matter where, was extraordinary. Just so, it's just being first in Jinyang sect. In 2 years, you country's 5 great immortal sects will hold a sword trial, and if I seize first place then, my name might get known even here in Jiang country. Later, if you encounter any issues, you can just mention my name." Lu Qingshan said nonchalantly. "You can't bear to not show off, can you?" Lu Chongqing was somewhat speechless. "Dad, don't you think such things add to one's prestige? In the future when people see you, they'll exclaim in admiration, 'Look, that's the father of Qingshan, the sword immortal.'" Lu Qingshan joked. "Just don't cause me trouble and I'll be thankful enough." Lu Chongqing spoke irritably. Hearing Lu Qingshan's words, Lu Chuanjun felt much more serene inside. He now knew his younger brother was not just top tier, but among the most elite. Currently, his own combat strength was not far behind the true transmissions of the immortal sects. Once I break through foundation establishment and comprehend the Yin-Yang 5 elements Kuanping technique and cultivate its several techniques and secrets, my combat strength will further improve. Lu Chuanjun murmured to himself, not at all disheartened, confronting his own reality. Then, the group returned to the Lu family mansion, chatting and laughing all the way. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 941. Repeat rewards. Head to the Purple Shadow Secret Realm. In a certain valley, a tall and robust figure was practicing martial arts. His black hair was thick, his body nimble, and as the sunlight shone upon him, his muscles appeared to gleam with a thin layer of gold, as if they were cast in gold. Wham! 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 The man's punches and kicks flew, creating whooshing and whistling sounds as they moved through the air. Nearby trees and giant stones shattered under the force of his blows, exploding like dynamite, turning into dust, wood chips and stones filling the air. Although Lu Pingon had already reached the pinnacle of the martial path, with no further steps to climb, he still persisted in his martial arts practice. One reason was the habit he had formed since childhood. Another reason was that he found many martial techniques to be particularly effective in close combat against cultivators, yielding unexpected results, so he continued practicing to integrate and master them. The final reason was that he discovered that practicing martial arts could speed up the refinement of the magical treasures within his body, making it a form of cultivation. Open Mountain. After practicing for a while, Lu Pingan's breathing suddenly changed, sounding like the roar of a dragon or bellow of an elephant. His breath heavy as if his body was as majestic as mountains and as grand as peaks, with all his tendons and bones singing harmoniously and his internal organs rumbling. Then his right fist swung out like a dragon snake taking flight, slamming forward ferociously. If someone observed with the spiritual spring technique, they would see a giant axe appearing faintly behind Lu Pingon, chopping down forcefully. Boom! In an instant, the mountain range in front of him erupted with a thunderous noise under the overwhelming force of the punch, echoing throughout the valley and startling birds and beasts with shrieks. After a while, once the dust settled, the mountain seemed to have been split by a giant axe, leaving behind a deep, charred and smoldering crevasse. I finally mastered it. Lu Pingon exhaled a heated breath, his majestic physique now charged with a more wild and domineering presence, intimidating to those around. This punch was a result of his enlightenment through the nurtured treasure bones. Using the treasure bones as a medium, he fused the spirit meat with them to borrow a fraction of the power and presence from the magical treasures within his body. Previously, due to his physical limitations, he couldn't grasp this power. But now, at the energy refinement late stage, having broken through to the 5th layer of the 100 refinements treasure body art, he finally mastered this power through continuous familiarity. Pingon brother, Pingon brother! At this moment, a crisp female voice rang out. A petite figure in a red dress approached, curious and playful, calling out as she ran. Jiaoer! Lu Pingon saw Su Jiaoer and immediately reined in his aura, turning his head to look and greeted her cheerfully. Out of guilt for accidentally killing her pet after she had saved him, he felt particularly indebted to her. So, seeing Su Jiaoer all alone and lonesome, he stayed to keep her company and to chat, brightening her spirits. Usually, he would practice martial arts in his spare time, slowly becoming familiar with and integrating the power of the 100 refinements treasure body art. As their interactions increased, their relationship grew more cordial. He treated her as his little sister, and at some point, she started calling him Pingon brother all the time. Pingon brother, Xiaobai has given birth. She had 3 little Xiaobais. Su Jiaoer's eyes curved into crescents, her face full of joy as she spoke to Lu Pingon. Oh, let's go have a look. Lu Pingon said with a smile. Sar the novel_fire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Su Jiaoer's life was quite monotonous and dull. Her days consisted of looking at plants, playing with crickets and bugs, or casually strolling through the forest. So Lu Pingon caught a few demon beasts for her, cleared a vegetable garden, and dug a pond. At least then she would have something to do. Feed the demon beasts, tend to the garden, watch the frogs in the pond, and go fishing. These trivial and mundane tasks were full of fun for Su Joer, and she felt very happy and content with them every day. Soon, the two of them arrived at a small bamboo grove where they lived. The place had taken on more of a lived-in feel since Lu Pingon had cultivated and improved it. Then they went to a nest built of stone, where 2 white tigers lay. Upon seeing Lu Pingon, the 2 tigers immediately showed fear. Although Lu Pingon knew some basic beast taming knowledge, it was only theoretical. So, to subdue these 2 tigers at first, he used the most ancient and simple method and fought them for half a month. This caused the tigers to fear him deep down. Now, you could see one of the tigers lying exhaustedly with 3 newborn tiger cubs suckling on her. The 2 did not disturb them and just quietly observed the tigers. After a while, Lu Pingon took one of the tigers, Defied, out hunting. It's been about half a year, hasn't it? That night, Lu Pingon, Xiaofan, and Su Joer gazed at the stars in the night sky. He remembered that it had been about half a year since he arrived here. He had been thinking of returning home for a while. After all, he had told his father that he would return once he reached the 7th level energy refinement. But he also felt that leaving would make Su Joer very lonely and sad. Lu Pingon took a deep breath, realizing that this matter had to be addressed sooner or later. He couldn't stay here with her forever. He clenched and then unclenched his fists, mustering his courage, and turned to the girl. Joer, what is it, Pingon brother? Su Joer crouched on the ground, hugging her knees, smiling as she looked up at Lu Pingon. That. Lu Pingon looked at the girl's cheeks and suddenly didn't know how to start. After scratching his head and with an apologetic expression, he said, I actually have some other matters and can't stay here all the time. Su Joer felt a tremor in her heart upon hearing this and a sense of loss. After a while, she finally spoke softly, Pingon brother, will you come back to see Joer in the future? She might be naive, but she understood that Lu Pingon couldn't stay with her forever. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 942. Repeat rewards. Head to the Purple Shadow Secret Realm. He had his own matters to attend to, just like his parents had theirs to do. CTH Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Yes, I'll come visit Joer when I have time. Lu Pingon quickly nodded and said. He planned to take care of the parasitic cultivators who had tried to kill him before, then return home. When he headed for Jiuxiao Immortal City, he would come to see his sister. Brother Pingon, you can't lie to me. Come see me when you have time. Let's pinky swear. The girl's eyes seemed to twinkle with a bright glow as she stretched out her fair finger and solemnly said, Okay. Lu Pingon grinned and extended his finger to pinky swear with the girl. Brother Pingon, when do you plan to leave? After the pinky swear, Su Joer smiled with her eyes squinting, appearing radiant and moist under the night sky. In a few days. Lu Pingon thought it over, feeling he should spend a little more time with Su Joer. Brother Pingon, please take good care of yourself when you leave. Grandma says it's very dangerous outside. Although Su Joer felt quite disheartened, she tried to appear as natural as possible. She knew that showing her sadness would affect him. That night, the two talked for a long time until the grandmother reminded Su Joer to go to bed, and she returned to her bamboo house to rest. Lu Pingon also returned to his own room to rest. Lu Pingon. At this moment, an old woman with white hair, a withered face, holding a serpent-headed cane, appeared in the room. Grandma. Lu Pingon looked at the old woman and called out. After spending so much time together, he knew that this grandmother was a cultivator. But her specific name and cultivation level were unknown to him. He only knew that she was taking care of Su Joer. Otherwise, he would have considered taking Su Joer home with him, so she wouldn't be so lonely and bored. When you leave this place, you must not speak of Joer's matters to anyone. The old woman's voice was aged as she said this. Please rest assured, Grandma. I will certainly not speak of your and Joer's matters. Lu Pingon might have been a bit naive, but he wasn't foolish. He was aware that Su Joer and the grandmother must have some secret, which was why they lived here. After some thought, he took a heart demon oath on the spot. Because words alone were not reliable, for cultivators, This oath was extremely solemn. Good, you can come see Joer when you have the time. Seeing this, the old woman's voice softened slightly, and she vanished. Through her observations over the past 6 months, she saw that Lu Pingon was forthright and not a malevolent person. Otherwise, even if he appeared to be a descendant of a true monarch, she wouldn't have let him leave so easily. However, throughout these 6 months, she felt that Lu Pingon didn't seem like the descendant of a true monarch at all. He seemed more like an ordinary martial artist who had come upon a great fortune. Otherwise, how could it be that one on the immortal path still practiced every day, crude martial arts? 7 days later, Lu Pingon bid farewell to Su Joer. He wanted to say something but felt that anything he said would be superfluous. Eventually he merely scratched his head and softly said, "Joer, take care. Brother Pingon, this is the peace charm I made for you. I hope everything goes your way, safe and sound." The girl's eyelashes trembled slightly as she nodded with a smile, taking out a talisman pouch. "Thank you, it's very pretty." Lu Pingon received the talisman pouch and earnestly said. He had noticed days earlier that the girl had been clumsily making the talisman pouch, obviously putting in a lot of effort. "I'm off." Taking a deep breath, he waved his hand and said, "Aha." Lu Pingon took large strides without looking back, knowing that Su Joer must be watching him. But at that moment, he couldn't help remembering his own parting with Qini years ago. Back then, like Su Joer, he had bid farewell. Only at that time, they were divided by their mortal and immortal realms. She was headed for the distant heavenly sword sect, while he had chosen to return home to take over the family business, so their chances of meeting again were virtually non-existent. But now, it was not a farewell forever. Suddenly, Lu Pingon turned around, his face beaming with a smile, and loudly said, "Joer, don't worry, I'll come back to visit you when I have time." "Brother Pingon, have a safe journey." The girl's face showed a smile. Phew! At that moment, Lu Pingon felt his heart was much more relaxed and carefree. Then, with a light step, his figure blurred like a phantom towards the direction of the cliff and the ruined temple. Time flew quickly, and in the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Originally, Lu Chongxing had planned to take Lu Wangshu to the Luoyun mountain range during this time to visit Xiaofan. But because of the opening of the Purple Shadow secret realm, and the return of Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhu to the family, this plan was naturally postponed. He planned to wait until the matters of the Purple Shadow secret realm were finished before taking his daughter Lu Wangshu out for a trip. As the time for the Purple Shadow secret realm's opening drew near, many family forces and loose cultivators headed towards the realm. During these times, though sales of elixir medicines, talisman, puppets, and magic artifacts had increased, it wasn't by a staggering amount. One reason was that everyone was aware of the secret realm and would have made preparations in advance. Another was that, although there were many going to the secret realm, once averaged out, the number seemed quite ordinary. However, sales of the puppets from Bihu Mountain had seen a significant increase over these months. In the puppet workshop, within a side hall, Lu Chongsheng was crafting a custom-made puppet for his beloved daughter. His daughter, Lu Wangshu, was helping by taking care of the children, playing with Lu Lingxiao and Lu Lingyi. "Bayu!" Lu Wangshu made a gesture towards Lu Lingyi, who paused for a moment before, "Ah-ah-woo," collapsing to the ground. Sitting beside them, Lu Lingxiao watched the scene with disdain and speechlessness, feeling that the two were exceedingly childish, while focusing on their father engraving spiritual patterns. Lu Lingyi, however, was having a great time, and then looking up with a sister, he called out to Lu Wangshu for some candy. "Wangshu, eating too much candy is bad for your teeth. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 943. Repeat Rewards. Head to the Purple Shadow Secret Realm. Lu Chongxing looked at the two sisters and spoke up to remind them. "Daddy? Since when do cultivators have bad teeth?" Lu Wangshu revealed her own snow-white, neatly arranged teeth. Then, with a flick of her index finger and thumb, she popped a candy into her little sister's mouth, saying, "Right, Xiaoha." Lu Lingyi nodded vigorously. Watching this scene, Lu Chongxing couldn't help but wonder. Was having Lu Wangshu spend more time getting close to these siblings a good thing, or a bad thing? Could it lead them astray? He felt it was necessary to seriously consider this issue. Long after, Lu Chongqing finished polishing a puppet part and stood up, calling it a day. Although he said he was making a puppet for his daughter, such a project with its great scope would certainly take a year or two to deliver. Lu Chongqing, with his children in tow, left the puppet workshop and returned to the Lu family mansion. Husband, today I saw a young woman who I think would be very suitable for Chuanjin. Chu Zhenjin approached Lu Chongqing as soon as she saw him, eager to share. Because of the Purple Shadow secret realm matter, Lu Chongqing had not asked Lu Chuanjin to return to White Tiger Mountain to take charge, instead leaving the matter to his son Lu Qingsong. And during these days, Chu Zhenjin's routine marriage pushing had resumed. After all, with 4 children, Lu Yuzhen, Lu Caizhen, and Lu Huaizhen all settled down, it was natural for her to put her heart and soul into getting the eldest son, Lu Chuanjin, married. All right, Zhenjin, you make the decision. As long as Chuanjin agrees, I will go propose immediately. Lu Chongqing smiled and nodded, wanting nothing to do with these matters. But Chuanjin is avoiding me, and I don't know where he's gone. Chu Zhenjin said, feeling somewhat aggrieved. 2 months ago, Chu Zhenjin had finally cultivated the auspicious tree as her life-bound spiritual root. The effect was a few notches below Lu Miaoun's, boosting her only to the 8th level energy refinement. However, she did undergo quite a change. Not only did she look a few years younger, but she also gained a somewhat ethereal and natural aura. That night, Lu Chongqing attempted dual cultivation with Chu Zhenjin to see if he could gain any special traits from the auspicious tree. At the end of their dual cultivation, Lu Changsheng's mental spirit was utterly calm, free of all distractions, as if had entered a sage-like state. Because of this, he immediately gave up on practicing the tender embrace technique with Chu Zhenjin. In the long run, who could withstand such tranquility? It's good that Chuanjin is dedicated to his cultivation, and getting married later is no problem. Let him be. Lu Chongqing said offhandedly. Although he encouraged his children to procreate, he still maintained an attitude of letting nature take its course. After all, he would still support them if the children wished to pursue cultivation diligently. But getting married doesn't affect one's cultivation. Chu Zhenjin replied. Although she had heard that getting married could hinder cultivation, her own husband, with a bevy of wives and a house full of children, didn't seem to be affected in the least. Thus clearly that rumor was false. Children and grandchildren have their own luck. If Zhenjin likes children so much, we could have a few more. Lu Chongqing wrapped his arm around his petite wife and whispered in her ear. Husband, upon hearing this, Chu Zhenjin's cheeks flushed with embarrassment. Such an old couple they were, with children already so grown, and yet they were contemplating more kids. But Chu Zhenjin thought of the books that stated if both parents were formidable, the children they bore would be clever and formidable, with exceptional talents. If she could become a foundation-building great cultivator like her sister Miaoyan, the child she and her husband would have might be as outstanding as Qing Shan, with exceptional talent. At this moment, she felt a twinge of anticipation. After all, her husband truly adored children. And she could see that he showed a bit more affection for those with extraordinary talents. That day, a system notification resounded in Lu Changsheng's mind. Congratulations, host, for 100 of your progeny breaking through to the martial Dao innate, granting a bloodline effect, a 3% increase in the probability of offspring having spiritual roots, and a chance for 1 lottery draw. It's changed from fertility probability to offspring spiritual root probability. Lu Chongqing noticed a change in the bloodline effects granted by the system. It had previously been about the probability of him having more descendants. Now it was about the probability of his offspring having spiritual roots. 3%, not bad at all. Lu Chongqing didn't feel the probability was small. On one hand, there was still potential for improvement in the future. On the other hand, the probability of mortals giving birth to offspring with a spiritual root was exceedingly low. The Lu family's 3rd generation numbered over 240 people now. Yet among them, only 19 children had a spiritual root. The reason was simple. When it came to childbirth, even with policy encouragement, the primary population still came from the secular world, without spiritual roots. On by Lake Mountain's side, only a few obedient children like Lu Yun and Lu Xianji started families early and had offspring. Few other children chose to marry. Lu Chongqing was roughly aware that it should be because of himself, a father with a 9th grade spiritual root, having achieved so much. Therefore, even the children in the family with lower-grade spiritual roots still harbored some dreams of foundation establishment, striving as much as possible while they were young. Not even 100, and it's just a normal lottery. Lu Chongqing, seeing it was only a normal lottery, felt somewhat listless. Having experienced several advanced-level lotteries, he gradually became somewhat disdainful of normal lotteries. However, since he had already received the child money, he naturally wouldn't waste it. System, draw the lottery. As his words fell, the system's great roulette began to spin rapidly. Then it slowly stopped at the elixir medicines category. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a bottle of Purple Mansion elixir. The reward has been delivered to the system space. The host may check it at any time. An image of an elixir appeared from the roulette accompanied by a system notification sound. Purple Mansion elixir? The system rewards can draw duplicate rewards? Lu Changsheng's eyebrows raised. He had drawn the lottery over 40 times now. This was the first time he had drawn a repeated reward. Elixir medicine, Purple Mansion elixir. Quality, 3rd rank. Description: can purify the soul, clarify the physical body, strengthen the divine sense and physique. Indeed exactly the same, but this Purple Mansion elixir is still quite good. Lu Chongqing pondered about the Purple Mansion elixir in his system space. Although the Purple Mansion elixir was not as good as the coagulation crystal elixir, a bottle of 10 pills could still be considered top-tier elixir medicines. Originally, after he had consumed 10 Purple Mansion elixirs, not only was his physical body enhanced, but his divine sense jumped from the initial stage of foundation establishment to the foundation establishment late stage. This improvement could not be said to be small. Now that Chuanjin and Qing Shan are about to break through foundation establishment, this Purple Mansion elixir will be used by them when the time comes. Lu Chongqing thought to himself. Now that his physical body and divine sense would get limited effects from consuming the Purple Mansion elixir, it would be better to let his children consume it. After all, when they broke through their realms, it would also reflect back onto him. Immediately, Lu Chongqing extracted the Purple Mansion elixir from the system space and placed it into his storage ring. Looking at the time, the Purple Shadow Secret Realm should also be about to open. Lu Chongqing thought of the Purple Shadow Secret Realm and prepared to send Lu Chuanjin there. As for Lu Qingshan, his master Tianyuan True Immortal had already indicated he would come to receive him, so it was unnecessary for Lu Chongqing to escort him. Soon after, Lu Chongqing explained things to Lu Miaoge, Ling Zixiao, and Lu Qingshan, and then took Lu Chuanjin away from Bai Lake Mountain toward Ziyun Gorge, where the Purple Shadow Secret Realm was located. The distance from Bai Lake Mountain to Ziyun Gorge was not very far. Heading north, it was approximately a month's journey by controlling a spirit boat. Just as Lu Chongqing was sending Lu Chuanjin to the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, in a mountain range. It seems to be in this direction, right? Pingon, look, am I going the right way? Lu Pingon, tall and robust in a green outfit, rode on a black spirit horse, holding a map and asking Pingon beside him. Pingon looked at the map for a long time, then nodded, indicating it should be correct. Since it's right, then let's set off again. Lu Pingon promptly packed up the spirit horse and continued on his way. Sir the Nelfer. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. 3 months ago, he had been continuously investigating and had blasted to death several parasitic cultivators who had ambushed him. During this time, he heard the news that the Purple Shadow Secret Realm was opening. Having long known of the famous Purple Shadow Secret Realm, Pingon knew that it was most renowned for producing primary spiritual medicine for foundation establishment elixirs, the heavenly spirit fruit. Thinking of his current strength, an idea suddenly sprang to mind to take a trip to the Purple Shadow Secret Realm. He hoped to see if he could gain anything and find a few heavenly spirit fruits. In this way, not only would his own future foundation establishment be hopeful, but he could also prepare foundation establishment elixirs for his aunt and siblings. So, he bought a map, and instead of going home, he changed his course toward the Purple Shadow Secret Realm. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 944. Pingon, how did you get here? Ziyun Gorge. The entire gorge extended for hundreds of miles, flanked by vast and lofty mountain ranges. Due to the presence of the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, There were almost no traces of demon beasts along this section of the gorge. Even if a few demon beasts occasionally appeared, they would be hunted by passing cultivators and nearby family forces. On this journey, what one truly needed to be cautious of was other cultivators. Because the Purple Shadow Secret Realm opened once every 30 years, it was common knowledge. Many chose not to venture into the secret realm but instead turned into robber cultivators, lying in wait to ambush and kill here. At this moment, Lu Chongsheng was steering a spirit boat, taking Lu Chuanjin into Ziyun Gorge. He wore luxurious dark robes, standing tall and straight on the spirit boat with his hands clasped behind his back, exuding an aura of profound stability and confidence, emitting a faint foundation establishment spiritual pressure. Facing such a spiritual pressure, naturally, no robber cultivator dared to act recklessly. After all, most robber cultivators were merely energy-refining cultivators. They would only target seemingly easy-to-bully loose cultivators. This made Lu Chongxing muse whether there might be foundation establishment cultivators intentionally disguising themselves, coming here to fish for law enforcement. After all, the cultivation world never lacked such idle people. Moreover, instead of robbing poor loose cultivators, it was better to rob robber cultivators. Soon after, Lu Chongxing drove the spirit boat through the gorge and arrived at the end. Ahead was a vast expanse of yellow soil slope. At the center of the slope seemed to be a large purple altar. Scattered around the altar were numerous cultivators, numbering in the hundreds. It was quite bustling. 99% of these cultivators were energy-refining cultivators. However, most of them possessed the cultivation level of the energy refinement late stage. Most foundation establishment cultivators, like Lu Chongxing, were sending family juniors or descendants. However, they mostly had 3 or 4, or even 7 or 8 energy refining cultivators by their side. Like Lu Chongxing, who only brought one person, was rather rare. Seeing Lu Changsheng's spirit boat slowly descend, a few nearby energy-refining cultivators immediately showed a respectful demeanor and moved aside to make room, to avoid offending Lu Chongxing, or being deemed displeasing by him. After all, the moods of foundation establishment cultivators were unpredictable. If one was in a bad mood and found them bothersome, attacking them would leave them nowhere even to cry. This Purple Shadow Secret Realm really is lively. Lu Chongxing put away the spirit boat and looked at the scene, clicking his tongue. Although he had visited Zhouxiao Immortal City and Azure Phoenix Immortal City, he had never seen such a gathering of hundreds of cultivators ready for action like in the Purple Shadow Secret Realm. At this time, he spotted people from Qingzhou Mountain and 100 Birds Lake in the crowd. Qingzhou Mountain was led by someone he knew, Lu Miaofeng. In total, there were 4 people, besides Lu Miaofeng who was at 9th level energy refinement. The other 3 were only at 8th and 7th level energy refinement. Lu Chongxing did not go up to greet them. He came here incognito this trip and had disguised himself along with Lu Chuanjin. After all, concealing one's identity made things more convenient, as showing one's true appearance easily invited trouble. Not just him, many cultivators present had disguised themselves. Chuanjin, if you wish, you could later join Miaofeng and the others. Lu Chongxing transmitted a message to his son Lu Chuanjin at his side. He had previously learned about the Purple Shadow Secret Realm from Qingzhou Mountain. Everyone entering it would appear randomly within the realm. But they could meet up immediately using transmission talismans, yin-yang sensing talismans, and other such items. Thus, at this moment, one could see many loose cultivators and family juniors recognizing each other and forming groups. After all, besides seeking opportunities, the Purple Shadow Secret Realm also served as a trial site for the disciples of immortal sects. Disciples of immortal sects may not be bloodthirsty. But who could say in such situations, one must prepare for the worst. Lu Chuanjin, dressed in black robes with a scholar-like demeanor, nodded in agreement. The 2 of them rested on the spot, waiting for the 4 great immortal sects to open the secret realm. As time passed, more and more foundation establishment cultivators with their disciples and successors arrived. At that time, Lu Chongxing saw an elderly man with a majestic appearance stepping down from a golden spirit boat with 6 energy-refining cultivators. Golden Dragon Ridge. Lu Changsheng's eyes narrowed slightly as he saw the newcomers. He then said to his son beside him, Chuanjin, if you encounter people from Golden Dragon Ridge in the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, join up with Qing Shan and slaughter them all. Despite the Jin family patriarch coming forward to apologize and make amends, it was purely to save face. Moreover, they had been suppressing the business interests of White Tiger Mountain openly and secretly over the past year. Faced with this situation, he could not do much directly, but with such an opportunity, naturally, he would not be polite. Of course, the main reason was his confidence in his son's abilities. Even if Lu Qingshan was not there, Lu Chongqing was quite reassured about Lu Quanzhen's situation. Second-rank puppet, a full set of top-tier magical artifacts, talisman treasure bronze goo, a pile of second-rank talismans. In such a situation, how could a few energy-refining cultivators be his match? Even foundation establishment cultivators would get a headache encountering Lu Chuanzhen. Lu Chuanzhen was somewhat surprised by his father's words, but he merely smiled and squinted his eyes, glanced at the people from Golden Dragon Ridge, and responded softly, "Father, rest assured." Time passed bit by bit. As more and more people gathered, Lu Chongqing learned that many Family Forces Foundation establishment cultivators came to buy resources, heavenly and earthly treasures. After Lu's cultivators exited the secret realm, they would conduct transactions. Because the four great immortal sects only collected some rare resources. The remaining resources, which most Lu's cultivators didn't need, were directly traded here. Or they would use resources to hire someone to escort them to the marketplace. CTH Nafire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Never thought this Purple Shadow secret realm would have so many ins and outs. Lu Chongqing clicked his tongue in realization, now understanding why many family forces openly came. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 945. Pingon, how did you come here? Because the family had a good reputation, people were willing to trust them even if their purchase prices were cheaper by a few percentages. However, he was now disguised, which made it inappropriate to engage in purchasing activities. Just then, Lu Chongqing suddenly opened his eyes as if he sensed something. He saw a tall, burly, dust-covered man looking like a wanderer of the rivers and lakes who had found a spot to sit down in the distance. Lu Chongqing instantly sensed a familiar aura from the person. Pingon. Lu Chongqing swept his divine sense and immediately saw through the disguise. Isn't Pingon supposed to be traveling? Why has he come to the Purple Shadow secret realm? A trace of surprise appeared in his eyes as he transmitted his voice. Lu Pingon, come here. Ah! Lu Pingon, upon hearing this, was startled and looked around in confusion. He didn't return home this trip, knowing that if his father knew he was aiming for the Purple Shadow secret realm, he would likely disagree. So, he decided on his own to come here secretly. Unexpectedly, he had just arrived at Ziyun Gorge when he heard his father's voice. He looked around but did not see his father, Lu Chongqing. Moments later, he saw a man in his 30s, with a dignified appearance and a profound aura, wearing a dark robe, walking toward him accompanied by a scholarly young man in a black robe. You are, father? Lu Pingon asked, somewhat unsure. The man in the dark robe looked nothing like his father as he usually appeared. Indeed. Lu Chongqing answered, nodding slightly. His current disguise tactic wasn't as simple as his early years' disguises. Not only was he using a fate-defying robe to mask and contain his aura, but he also wore a specialized disguise mask. Unless a nascent soul immortal used divine sense to investigate, it would be hard to discern his real face. Lu Chuanzhen was also disguising his appearance and aura. Pingon, why are you here? Lu Chongqing brought his son to the side and asked. I heard that the Purple Shadow secret realm was opening, so I thought I'd come to check it out. Maybe I could find something. Lu Pingon scratched his head, looking somewhat sheepish. As if worried his father might misunderstand, he hastily explained. Father, I'm not overestimating myself. I had some fortuitous encounters before, and I've reached the 5th level of the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art, so I dared to come here. 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art's 5th level? Lu Chuanzhen next to him narrowed his eyes in surprise. In his younger years, Lu Chongqing had taught him the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art. However, he didn't excel in it and eventually abandoned this cultivation technique. Lu Pingon quickly waved his hands, feeling awkward about taking his younger brother's artifacts. Big brother, I have a robe, and I won't be using this spiritual armor. Take it. Lu Chuanjun, knowing his elder brother practiced body cultivation, handed Lu Pingon a piece of spiritual armor. Since Chuanjun is offering it so kindly, then accept it. Be extra cautious on this trip into the secret realm. Lu Chongxing, pleased to see his sons getting along well, said with contentment. He then informed Lu Pingon about some points to be wary of in the Purple Shadow secret realm. Although Lu Pingon mentioned he understood the realm's situation. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 946. Pingon, how did you come here? But he knew without thinking that most of it was just baseless gossip spread by loose cultivators, with truth and falsehoods intermingled. It was better not to believe in them at all. After Lu Chongxing had finished speaking, he continued to instruct, by the way, if you see any rare spiritual medicine, like heavenly spirit fruits, just uproot them completely, and later put them into Quanzhen's spirit plant bag. This trip to the Purple Shadow secret realm, he naturally thought of the heavenly spirit fruits that were abundant within. Though the heavenly spirit fruit was only a second-rank spirit fruit, aside from in the Purple Shadow secret realm, it was practically impossible to grow elsewhere. But for such a situation, Lu Chongxing thought of his little green bottle. He believed that he could try to cultivate heavenly spirit fruits using the myriad spirits bottle. If he could successfully grow and harvest them, his family wouldn't need to worry about foundation establishment elixirs in the future. All right, father. Lu Pingon nodded his head. His main purpose before was the heavenly spirit fruits. He now firmly committed these words to memory. Encountering any rare spirit flowers or spirit grasses, he would uproot them all. By the way, what's going on with you having broken through to the 5th layer of the 100 Refinements treasure body art? At this time, Lu Chongxing became concerned about his son's second-order body refining. At the time he found out that Lu Pingon had a body refinement breakthrough, he was flabbergasted for quite a while. Lu Pingon scratched his head and shared his experience. He mentioned that he previously encountered an ambush and coincidentally, an ironback centipede and a vermilion toad entered his body. At that time, he was almost unconscious, about to pass out. Search * the Novelier. NET website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. But the light had appeared before and the 100 Refinements treasure body art had run automatically, refining the magical treasures and both poisons inside his body, so he broke through the 5th layer. As for the matter with Su Zhou'er, because he had previously promised her and sworn an oath that bound his heart demon, he didn't mention it too much. Be more careful in the future. Lu Chongxing patted his son's shoulder and said solemnly. The process might sound simple, but he could hear the danger in it. Because he knew that the Hope Goo worked only when encountering a hopeless situation. This indicated that, at that time, Lu Pingon was actually on the verge of death. Father, I understand. Lu Pingon nodded again and again. He himself was quite frightened after the fact. After explaining everything, the trio returned to the area around the altar. The presence of a false core immortal. Just as they sat down, Lu Chongxing sensed a dominant aura coming from the south. Soon after, a white jade tower ship with intricately carved beams and lavish decorations approached from the sky. At the forefront of the ship's deck, stood a long-haired woman, enchanting in appearance, exuding charm in every gesture. She wore a light pink sheer palace dress, which made her graceful figure distinctly visible. Especially her pair of snow-white beautiful legs, lightly covered by the sheer dress, revealed their shape, yet added a hazy temptation. It's Huan Yin's sect. It seems to be the bewitching melody real person from Huan Yin's sect. People immediately loudly exclaimed and observed the magnificent ship. The false core immortal from Huan Yin's sect? Lu Chongxing glanced a few times but did not look anymore. Though this false core immortal was overflowing with allure, capturing the unwavering attention of many who wanted to look but dared not stare. To Lu Chongxing, she was quite ordinary. The reason was simple. A dignified false core immortal actually had an air of vulgarity about her. This behavior, however, seemed to surprise Lu Chuanjun, who was next to him. After all, his father was famously fond of women. And as one of Jiang country's top family forces, Huan Yin's sect was known for its female cultivators, music mastery, dance, bewitching technique, and beauty. The fact that his own father showed so little interest in Huan Yin's sect was unusual. Seeing the dust-covered figures on the deck of the ship, he also showed disdain. The Huan Yin sect's ship did not descend but hovered silently in midair, waiting for the secret realm to open. Such behavior was extremely disrespectful to the cultivators below, akin to trampling on their heads. Yet, none of the cultivators present dared to say anything. After all, the Huan Yin sect possessed nascent soul-level strength, with a false core immortal leading the group. Not long after the Huan Yin sect arrived, another sect from the duo of sects and trio of cities and great clans, Wuxia Mountain, made its appearance. It was a sect that specialized in alchemy. The famous Elixir Cauldron Pavilion was a business under Wuxia Mountain. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Suddenly, clouds churned in the distance and thunder roared, followed by a massive commotion. A divine vessel, pulled by 9 nine-headed wind thunder steeds, cut through the air and approached. All of the second-order monster beasts soared across the sky amidst clouds and thunder, their imposing manner stunning. On the divine vessel flew a flag with the dancing character Su. Beast-taming Su family. What a grand display, using 9 second-order monster beasts to pull the chariot. Which ancestor of the Su family has come in person? Many cultivators whispered upon seeing this, their eyes filled with apprehension and respect. After all, as one of Jiang country's 3 great clans, the beast-taming Su family had deep roots and a far-reaching reputation. Beast-taming Su family. Lu Changsheng's eyes narrowed slightly as he saw this display. He remembered Su Ruyan mentioning that the beast-taming Su family had taken notice of him. However, the person leading the group on the divine vessel did not seem to be the 3rd ancestor of the Su family mentioned by Su Ruyan. As these nascent soul-level forces hovered in the air, conversing across the distance, each seemed more grandiose than the last, inspiring awe and envy in the cultivators below. After all, most people cultivated not only for longevity but also to someday ascend to such levels of lofty eminence. No wonder the presence of a nascent soul immortal signifies a top-tier force. At this moment, Lu Chongqing truly understood why a clan or power with a nascent soul immortal at its helm was considered top-tier. Without a nascent soul immortal, such a family power could hardly accumulate any heritage. Just like White Tiger Mountain. Despite its lineage reportedly spanning 1,000 years, its foundations were quite limited. Once faced with risk or crisis, it could be destroyed at any time. Like Huan Yin sect, Wuxia Mountain, and beast-taming Su family, these powers could at the very least sustain several false core immortals to stabilize the situation, waiting for the birth of a new nascent soul immortal. As the opening of the secret realm approached, Qingyun sect, Luoxia sect, and Spirit Taming sect arrived almost on time. All 3 sects were led by nascent soul immortals. Apart from the Spirit Taming sect, which rode a formidable quasi-3rd-order golden sculptor spirit beast, Qingyun sect and Luoxia sect respectively traveled in giant ships and magical towers, seeming much more unpretentious. However, despite the ordinary displays of these 2 great immortal sects, none in the field dared to underestimate them. As the time for the secret realm's opening drew near, the nascent soul-level sovereign of Jiang country, the Heavenly Sword sect, arrived fashionably late. The sect's flying magical treasure was simple. A gigantic flying sword that tore through the sky with tremendous spiritual pressure. Standing on the flying sword were about 30 Qi refinement disciples, all clad in white sword attire, carrying magical swords on their backs, their expressions stoic, radiating sharpness. Leading them was a stern-looking teenager of about 15 or 16, dressed in a plain white robe and with ordinary features. If not for the immense spiritual pressure emanating from his body and the boundless sharp aura, it would be hard to tell he was a nascent soul immortal. Heavenly Sword Sect. Yujin Zhenren. All cultivators of Ziyun Gorge gazed at the arrival from the Heavenly Sword Sect, their faces showing a respect. The several nascent soul-level powers that had arrived earlier all stepped forward to greet them. Ha! Lu Pingon looked at the newcomers from the Heavenly Sword Sect, and when he saw a slender figure on the flying sword, his expression suddenly froze. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 947. First Love, Lu Family's F3 Attacks. Qin Yi. Lu Pingon hadn't expected to run into Qin Yi here. Seeing her successfully join the Heavenly Sword sect and become one of its disciples, he felt genuinely happy for her. After all, from their early conversations, he knew it was her dream to join the Heavenly Sword sect and become a sword immortal. Lu Chongqing, noticing his son's sudden change of expression, immediately looked towards the huge flying sword of the Heavenly Sword sect. The disciples standing on the flying sword were both men and women, most of them quite young, in their 20s or 30s. Pingon, do you know someone from the Heavenly Sword sect? Lu Chongqing looked at several female disciples, asking aloud. Lu Pingon hesitated for a moment before retracting his gaze and calming his emotions, saying, "Yes, an old acquaintance from the past." "A woman?" Lu Chongqing raised an eyebrow, continuing his inquiry. Lu Pingan's face showed surprise, momentarily at a loss for words. But under his father's gaze, he eventually nodded his head. "The same young girl you met during your travels years ago?" Lu Changsheng's face suddenly showed a hint of playfulness. He thought to himself that after so many years, his son still remembered that young girl. Indeed, first love is hard to forget. Without experiencing 3 or 5 romances, this first love is not easily forgotten. He figured it would keep fermenting in his heart, becoming ever more idealized and unforgettable. Lu Chuanjun by his side showed a hint of gossip upon hearing this. He had interacted with Lu Pingon numerous times. Thus, he understood a bit about his older brother's character, knowing him to be very diligent and upright. Now, it seemed he was also a man of deep feelings. Though he had no experience with love, having such a father, he always found it odd that their family would produce such a devoted and passionate individual. Under these teasing gazes, Lu Pingon nodded with a somewhat heavy heart. "Which one? Point her out to your father." Lu Chongqing, as a father, immediately took interest in his son's romantic affairs. Ia the novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. That might not be appropriate," Lu Pingon said with some embarrassment. It had already been more than 10 years since they last met, and back then, neither had expressed their feelings. Now, the way his father was acting made him feel awkward. "What's there to be embarrassed about? Your father just wants to take a glance, not immediately ask for your hand," Lu Chongqing said, seeing his son act so coy. He slapped him lightly on the head. At such an age, and yet so little progress in matters of the heart. Under his father's pressure, Lu Pingon reluctantly pointed out Qin Yi. "So Pingon, you like this type?" Lu Chongqing looked at a female disciple standing on the enormous flying sword. A woman around 25 or 26 with slender eyes, ruddy lips, a straight nose, wearing the robe of the Heavenly Sword sect and with a high ponytail, radiating a heroic spirit. Lu Pingon remained silent. Though he was somewhat happy to see Qin Yi, he didn't want to reunite. Years of cultivation had taught him that the issue of his spiritual root was of great importance. If Qin Yi were to learn that he had stepped onto the immortal path, it could bring trouble to his family. "If you like her, pursue her boldly," Lu Chongqing said as he patted his son's shoulder. However, seeing his son's somewhat somber and silent demeanor, he paused and guessed his son's thoughts. Back then, Lu Pingon felt he was a mere mortal, and immortals were different, so he didn't want to hold her back. Now that Lu Pingon had embarked on the immortal path, the matter of the spiritual root was ultimately significant. If it were known, it might cause trouble. Sigh. Lu Chongqing sighed in his heart. His son was very responsible, which caused him to overthink many things. He thought that maybe when they returned home, he should ask his wife, Lu Miaoyun, to find a few women with similar charm and temperament for his son to meet, in hopes to help him move past these feelings. "Sometimes you can be bolder." Lu Chongqing stopped teasing his son and spoke seriously. Then, turning to Lu Chuanjun beside him, he said, "Chuanjun, if you meet someone you like, remember to be bold. Your mother has been nagging you about this recently." I understand." Lu Chuanjun hadn't expected the conversation to turn to him, and replied helplessly. "Qingshan, how come you're not here yet?" At that moment, Lu Chongqing, seeing that all 4 great immortal sects had arrived, indicating that the secret realm would soon open, wondered why Tianyuan True Immortal hadn't yet brought Lu Qingshan. Concerning this, he could only think that Tianyuan True Immortal lived up to his stereotype of being unreliable. However, just as he had this thought, he saw a divine rainbow shooting down from the clouds above, carrying an astonishing momentum that made everyone look up. Is that a nascent soul immortal? If all four great immortal sects are already here, why is a nascent soul immortal coming? A cultivator exclaimed upon seeing the divine rainbow. Besides for events like the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, nascent soul immortals rarely appeared in public. To suddenly have 5 nascent soul immortals appear today was extremely rare. The divine rainbow was fleeting and soon settled in mid-air. Once the brilliant light dispersed, a giant gourd appeared before everyone's eyes. Standing atop it was a stunning woman in her 30s, wearing a lavish scarlet gown, and sitting beside her was a young man in his 20s with star-like eyes and sword-like eyebrows, dressed in white and gold. The woman was none other than Tianyuan True Immortal. Unlike her usual casual demeanor, today her hair was neatly tied up, her gown tidy, and her entire demeanor exuded a noble and majestic aura as she said to the Yujin Junren of the Heavenly Sword Sect, "Yujin Junren, I trust you've been well. Tianyuan True Immortal, what brings you here?" Yujin Junren, with a stern face, looked at Tianyuan True Immortal. "I was just passing by. Hearing about the opening of the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, I thought to send my disciple here for some experience," Tianyuan True Immortal said with lightly parted red lips. "If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 948. First Love, Lu Family's F3 Takes Action. As the words were spoken, the 4 nascent soul immortals and the disciples of the 4 great immortal sects present all turned their attention to Lu Qingshan. Faced with such scrutiny, an ordinary person would have felt like they were being pricked by thorns, their complexion turning pale and showing an ugly demeanor. But Lu Qingshan stood up with a calmness that was unparalleled. An invisible pressure allowed the aura that had merged into his blood and bones from sword-charging bull's might to slowly rise, giving Lu Qingshan an indescribable power that surged within. He stood with a straight back, and it seemed as though there was a sharp sword inside his body, capable of piercing the heavens and swallowing the stars. It gave off a sense of fearlessness, lawlessness, and a firm belief that he could overcome all, both in spirit and in momentum. Just this spirit and momentum alone made all the disciples of the 4 great immortal sects reveal a look of solemn respect on their faces. Especially the disciples of the Heavenly Sword Sect. As sword cultivators, they felt an unstoppable, domineering sword intent from Lu Qingshan. Immediately, several disciples of the Heavenly Sword Sect looked at Lu Qingshan full of fighting spirit, wanting to spar with him in a match. "What a sword Dao seedling!" Yujin Junren praised, gazing at Lu Qingshan, who stood upright like a sword atop the gourd. As a nascent soul immortal from the Heavenly Sword Sect, he had seen many talented sword Dao geniuses. But people like Lu Qingshan could be counted on one hand in hundreds of years. "What's your name?" Yujin Junren asked. Ordinarily, let alone an energy-refining cultivator, even a foundation establishment cultivator would not be worthy of him personally asking their name. But he took a liking to a sword cultivator like Lu Qingshan. He believed that as long as the other did not die prematurely, he would certainly become renowned in the cultivation world. Sir the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Qingshan, I've seen the true immortal. Lu Qingshan spoke neither humbly nor arrogantly, giving a cupped fist salute. Good Lu Qingshan, I shall remember you. You may come to our Heavenly Sword Sect to challenge us in the future. Yujin Junren nodded and said so, tossing an identity token to Lu Qingshan. A challenge among sword cultivators was their way of sparring. As the representatives of the martial cultivator faction, sword cultivators were always known for their powerful combat abilities and combative fighting techniques. Moreover, fighting technique, apart from cultivation, also needed to be built up through battle after battle. Confusion was written all over Lu Pingan's face as he looked up at Lu Qingshan in the sky. He was unaware of why his brother had such a grand scene, and there were even nascent souls seeing him off. He was previously taken in as a disciple by a true immortal of Yu country's Jinyang sect, and this time he just happened to come to the Purple Shadow Secret Realm for the trial, explained Lu Chongxing. This is his master, Tianyuan True Immortal. Ah, I see. Lu Pingan looked at Lu Qingshan and nodded. He had just learned that he had such an outstanding younger brother. However, when he thought about his father's divine skills, it seemed normal for the family to have several strong siblings. Still, when he looked up at Lu Qingshan and then at Lu Chuanjun, who had reached the 9th level of energy refinement, he felt a certain pressure in his heart. It wasn't out of a desire to compete. As the eldest brother, he felt that even if he was to fall behind, he couldn't afford to fall behind too much. After the immortals in the sky had chatted enough, or when the time to open the secret realm arrived, the nascent soul immortals leading the 4 great immortal sects, headed by the Heavenly Sword sect, came forward to the purple altar in the center, each holding a purple gold token. Mana of the nascent soul level was poured into the tokens. Buzz, buzz, buzz. On the altar, purple light emerged, interweaving enigmatic and unpredictable runes, glittering ceaselessly like stars. All the runes interwove, gradually forming a pentagram formation map, making the earth tremble. Then, several massive pillars of light soared into the sky, tens of meters in height, awe-inspiring, turning heaven and earth into a shade of purple and green. While countless people were terrified, feeling the air getting heavier, a huge void portal slowly appeared above the altar. The portal, like a black hole vortex, was unclear inside. Yet, it emanated an ancient and vicissitudinous air, seemingly from another world, out of place here. So this is the secret realm. Lu Chongsheng was shaken as he stared at the portal in front of him. This was his first time seeing a secret realm. According to ancient records, most secret realms in the cultivation world were handed down from antiquity, opened by great spiritual adepts. But for some reason, they reappeared in the world and could be accessed through certain methods, entering the secret realm. Secret realms could vary widely, some being desolate, with even the risk of spatial collapse at any moment. The purple shadow secret realm in front of them belonged to the rare kind that contained great opportunities. However, only energy refining cultivators could enter. If foundation establishment cultivators attempted to enter, it would destabilize the secret realm and result in their expulsion. Not just Lu Chongqing. Many others were also shaken at the sight. The purple shadow secret realm will last for 1 month. All may enter the secret realm, but must follow these rules. Yujin Zhenren of the Heavenly Sword sect's calm and indifferent voice spread throughout the valley. A huge yellow list appeared in the air, its golden characters delineating the rules of the purple shadow secret realm. All cultivators entering the secret realm must surrender half of their findings afterward. Various heavenly and earthly treasures appeared, indicating that these could only be traded with the 4 great immortal sects. You were only allowed to take them with you if you acquired multiple rare heaven and earth spiritual materials. We will strictly obey the immortals' decree. The cultivators in the field responded in unison. The rules of the purple shadow secret realm were well known to everyone. And even if they weren't, there was no room for dissent. Then, the cultivators from the Heavenly Sword sect, Qingyun sect, Wuxia sect, and Spirit Taming sect successively entered the portal. Shortly after, several Jedon forces and false core level forces followed. At this time, Lu Qingshan entered the secret realm on his sword. Father, we're going. After most had entered, Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjun addressed Lu Chongsheng. Be very careful. Lu Chongsheng advised. Father, rest assured. The two nodded, then directly entered the portal. Phew! Lu Chongsheng watched his sons Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjun enter the secret realm, taking a deep breath, his heart feeling somewhat heavy. Even though he had confidence in his sons, it was their first time, and he couldn't completely stay detached. Swish, swish, swish. About half an hour later, nearly 90% of the 1,000 energy refining cultivators had entered the secret realm. The once teeming hillside was suddenly empty. Only a few foundation establishment cultivators remained, along with some large boats, ships, and treasure pavilions floating in the air. 1 month. Lu Chongxing looked around, exhaled softly, and sat down cross-legged to rest and rejuvenate, waiting for his sons to emerge from the secret realm. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 949. 3 brothers explore the secret realm. Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjun entered the portal and immediately felt the world spinning around them. Every direction turned into void, pitch black, unable to use any mana at all. The legend says that entering the purple shadow secret realm feels similar to the long-lost teleportation array, and indeed it does. Lu Chuanjun muttered to himself, trying to make out his surroundings. But darkness enveloped him on all sides, endless and colorless. Had he not been forewarned, encountering such a situation suddenly would have sent shivers down his spine. After a moment, he felt a bit sore all over and dizzily opened his eyes. So this is the Purple Shadow Secret Realm. Lu Chuanjun rubbed his temples and surveyed the area. He found himself in a forest dense with spiritual energy, mist swirling around. Most striking was the purple gloom covering the sky dome. After ensuring he was in a safe area, he gently tapped his storage bag, setting up a simple formation to regulate his condition. Although the teleportation hadn't affected him much, since he was now in the secret realm, it was natural to maintain the best condition at all times. After all, with so many cultivators entering the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, conflicts and killings were inevitable. And the acquisition from the realm, amounting to 50%, was to be handed over to the 4 great immortal sects. This included spiritual herbs and medicines, and heaven and earth spiritual material tainted with the essence of the realm. Assets pilfered from other cultivators, such as money, magic artifacts, and spiritual objects, were not included. Thus, most people in the Purple Shadow Secret Realm died not at the hands of demon beasts, but at the hands of other cultivators. At that moment, Lu Chuanjun felt something and pulled out his family token from the storage bag. It indicated someone was within the range of the token's sensing. He immediately knew it was his elder brother, Lu Pingon. After all, without even thinking, he knew his younger brother Lu Qingshan wouldn't likely seek him out immediately upon entering. The two had agreed that after entering the realm, they would see about meeting up in the central area, treating the outer zone like a trial area. Lu Chuanjun infused spiritual power into the token, responding to Lu Pingon. This elder brother, with a steady nature, was not overly competitive and wouldn't be a hindrance. Moreover, being a practitioner of second-order body refining, he was reliable and provided an additional layer of security. As spiritual power was infused, the two identity tokens gradually formed an invisible connection, sensing each other remotely. They could discern each other's rough location through the tokens. After recuperating for a long time, Lu Quanzhen's condition fully recovered, and he lightly lifted his hand to retract the formation flags, starting to explore the secret realm. He chose not to fly with his artifact, nor did he hasten on his way. Instead, he carefully headed towards the direction of Lu Pingon. After all, the secret realm was dangerous, and flying recklessly was like making oneself a live target. Moreover, the realm was filled with opportunities that needed to be slowly explored. After walking several miles, Lu Chuanjun spotted over a dozen light cyan-colored fruits, the size of a thumb, growing on rocks in the distance. Stone cyan fruit. Lu Chuanjun immediately recognized what they were. However, by their color, these spiritual medicines were not quite ripe yet. But having encountered them, who cared if they were fully matured? Especially since he had prepared a spirit plant bag in advance, allowing him to maintain some vitality of the spirit plants, which he could then transplant back home. Slapping his storage bag, a low-grade puppet appeared. He then operated the puppet to go and pluck all 13 stone cyan fruits clean. After completing the task, he continued moving cautiously. So soon there is slaughter. After a long walk, Lu Chuanjun suddenly smelt blood and abruptly halted, casting an invisibility technique. Carefully peering in the direction, he immediately spotted 2 corpses beside a dark pool. One decapitated, another stabbed through the heart. Search * the novel _fire. @ website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. They lay on the ground as if mutually annihilated, with a strong stench of blood permeating the air. In the calm center of the adjacent dark pool, there was also a palm-sized white lotus, glimmering with a blue luster. Mutual destruction? Water cloud lotus. Lu Quanzhen's eyes narrowed, filled with caution. After observing for a moment and seeing no movement, he tentatively sent a low-grade puppet out to approach the 2 bodies. However, just as the puppet approached the bodies to retrieve a storage bag, whizzing from the dark pool, silver needles shot towards Lu Chuanjun. Clang, clang, clang. Lu Chuanjun was well prepared, forming swirling vortexes of 5 colors around him, and a small dark shield appeared, blocking all the silver needles. Then, with a sudden slap of his hand, a 5-colored torrent blasted towards the dark pool. Boom! The dark pool erupted with a loud noise, sending unknown amounts of water flying into the air. Suddenly, a beautiful girl in a light yellow dress emerged from the pool, coldly saying to Lu Chuanjun, "You've got some skill, now scram." She was here fishing, and seeing that Lu Chuanjun was quite strong and cautious, she didn't want to waste time and energy. Wuxia sect disciple. Lu Quanzhen's eyes slightly narrowed, showing no sign of backing down. He had always wanted to gauge the gap between himself and a disciple of the immortal sects. His previous sparring with Lu Qingshan was mere practice and didn't reveal much. Now encountering a Wuxia sect disciple, he naturally wouldn't miss the chance to test his skills. Courting death. Seeing that Lu Chuanjun showed no intention of leaving, instead looking at her as if she were prey, the girl's face flushed with anger, and she slapped her pale palm. Whizzing! In an instant, countless silver needles shot towards Lu Chuanjun, densely packed and nearly impossible to defend against. The ground where a corpse with a heart-pierced chest was, also buzzed as the sharp cone spun madly, rushing towards Lu Chuanjun like a frenzied drill. 5 Elements Kuanping Technique. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 950. 3 brothers explore the secret realm. Lu Chuanjun formed a gesture incantation with both hands, and suddenly, a 5-colored fish appeared from the depths of the black pool, darting towards the girl in the yellow dress. Not good. The girl hadn't expected that Lu Quanzhen's previous attack still held a hidden maneuver. She immediately formed a protective aura around her body. But in an instant, the 5-colored fish shattered the protective aura piece by piece, frightening the girl into abandoning her offensive and urgently driving her defensive magic artifact. Clang, clang, clang! A purple shield orbited around Lu Quanzhen's body, forming a purple-colored shield that enveloped him completely. With both hands performing a gesture incantation, he fiercely unleashed a 5-colored torrent, sweeping grandly through the air. Boom! Struck by this onslaught, the girl was sent flying backwards explosively. However, as a disciple of the Wuxia sect, she was evidently not weak and was not defeated just like that, though her face looked rather embarrassed. Who are you, for an independent cultivator to possess such strength? The coldness in the girl's eyes was evident as she spoke. Though it was true that a few formidable figures occasionally emerged among independent cultivators, like the Qing Yuan Immortal, the #1 independent cultivator in Jiang country. But such instances were rare. In nearly 1,000 years, there had only been one Qing Yuan Immortal. 99% of independent cultivators had strength far inferior to the disciples of the immortal sects. Seeing that Lu Chuanjun did not speak, she produced a small yellow mirror in her palm. The mirror radiated a golden light towards Lu Chuanjun, while the previously used silver needles and sharp spikes continued their assault towards him. But just in that moment, Poochie! A dazzling 5-colored fish directly penetrated the girl's protective aura, piercing her heart with the speed of lightning. Erg! The girl's body shook violently. Her eyes filled with disbelief as she stared at her own chest. She could only feel a surging, overwhelming force shredding her internal organs as blood gushed out. How could this be? Her gaze fixed on Lu Chuanjun, but before she could finish her words, her body heavily collapsed to the ground. Bright red blood pooled around her, her beautiful eyes wide open in death. So this is a disciple of the immortal sects. Lu Chuanjun looked at the deceased girl with a calm and indifferent expression. If this was all that an immortal sect's disciple amounted to, then it truly was too uninteresting. Confirming that she was dead, Lu Chuanjun stepped forward and burnt all 3 corpses to ashes, then briefly dealt with the storage bags. For example, he tossed their sect tokens, magical robes, and so on into the black pool. Though entering the secret realm implies taking responsibility for one's own life and death, everyone knew to avoid getting entangled with disciples of the immortal sects or major clans to avert trouble. After finishing, he plucked the water cloud lotus from the black pool, stored it in the spirit plant bag, and continued towards the direction of Lu Pingon. In a dense forest. No wonder it's called the Purple Shadow Secret Realm. Spiritual medicines can be found everywhere. Lu Pingon uprooted a spirit plant, placing it into his storage bag with a face full of joy. Though he had never lived in poverty, he was well aware of the hardships at the base of the cultivation world, where spirit stones were hard to earn. His family managed to maintain a balanced expenditure solely because of his father's support. Thus, seeing so many spiritual medicines on this trip, and reaping spiritual medicines worth several hundred spirit stones in a short time, his heart was overjoyed. He felt that going forward like this, he could gather tens of thousands of spirit stones from this trip to the Purple Shadow secret realm. Although in the end, he had to hand over 50% to the four great immortal sects, he was satisfied to keep the other half. Lu Pingon continued towards Lu Quanzhen's direction. Though he wished to reunite with his younger brother soon, he knew the dangers of the realm and that he shouldn't be reckless or impatient. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. Lu Pingon had initially felt that he was quite lucky, stumbling upon spiritual medicines as he walked. But now, having gained nothing for so long, his mood was rather depressed. Just then, suddenly, a roaring bellow of a demon beast came from the side. This sound immediately caught Lu Pingan's attention. Is there a battle going on, or? Lu Pingon knew that although there were not many demon beasts in the Purple Shadow secret realm, wherever there were demon beasts, there were usually rare spiritual herbs. With this thought, Lu Pingon immediately headed towards the direction of the sound. Before long, he saw a golden giant bear chasing an old man and a young boy. The two did not confront the giant bear directly but skillfully entangled it, wearing it down. The old man, seeing Lu Pingon, immediately appeared alert through his slightly cloudy eyes. But seeing Lu Pingan's 7th-level energy refinement strength, he shouted, "Taoist, there are several 7-star grasses in this Vajra bear's cave. If you help us deal with it, we will share the spiritual medicines equally." While trust was rare among cultivators in the secret realm, many still grouped together for mutual benefit. Besides, with the grandfather and grandson, one at the 9th level and one at the 8th level, and Lu Pingon merely at the 7th level, in such a situation, they naturally did not fear how Lu Pingon might act. If Lu Pingon turned out to be wealthy, they could even possibly seize all his possessions. 7-star grass? CTH novel, F. Iyer. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Hearing this, Lu Pingan's eyes immediately lit up. The 7-star grass was a main ingredient for the lifespan extension pill. Extremely valuable. He immediately responded loudly, "Agreed. Let's do it." With his words, he shot out like a cannonball towards the Vajra bear. Taoist! The old man and the boy were stunned by Lu Pingan's actions, utterly bewildered. What was happening? Facing a demon beast, he was charging right towards it? Could it be that he intended to fight the demon beast in close combat? However, before they could finish their sentence, they saw Lu Pingon reaching the Vajra bear. With fists clenched, he leapt up, his right arm shimmering with a golden glow like a divine drum, breaking through layers of air, and solidly smashing into the Vajra bear's head. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 951. Bang! Under Lu Pingan's punch, the Vajra bear's skull burst open, and its sharp-pointed teeth shattered and flew. The enormous body that was 5 meters tall spun like a top and flew backwards, crashing to the ground and creating a huge pit. What's wrong? Only then did Lu Pingon turn his head to look towards the befuddled grandfather and grandson whose gazes were dull. It's nothing. The elderly man, still confused, swallowed hard and said awkwardly. He had just thought that with Lu Pingon at the Qi refinement 7th level, he could easily handle him by himself. But that punch had completely dumbfounded everyone. Having traveled the north and south for decades, he had never seen such a vicious person. At Qi refinement 7th level, to punch a demon beast into flight and apparently incapacitate it. Grandpa, isn't this Vajra bear known for its immense strength and indestructible body? The young man next to him swallowed his saliva, his face somewhat pale as he asked his grandfather. Typically, the combat power of demon beasts was stronger than that of cultivators at the same level. They had decided to confront this Vajra bear solely because it guarded the 7-star grass. But never did they expect that the Vajra bear that they could only slowly wear down and struggle against would be blasted away by someone else with a single punch, leaving its life hanging by a thread, making them question their existence. This must be the young master of some family here for training. Be polite later. The elderly man, watching the scene unfold before him, advised his grandson in a low voice. Bang bang bang, in front, Lu Pingon reached the pit, his fists raining down on the Vajra bear like meteor showers. His punches, like landslides and tsunamis, were so powerful that the ground could hardly bear it, continually trembling and forming a crater with dust swirling around. Shortly after, Lu Pingon lifted the now-dead Vajra bear out of the pit. How do you want to divide this Vajra bear? Lu Pingon looked towards the elderly man and the youth and asked. Although he had killed the beast himself, since it was their prey and they had expended a lot of effort, he chose not to claim it all. We don't need it. The elderly man immediately shook his head. In this situation, how could they dare to split the spoils with him? If it angered him, just one punch could end both their journey in the secret realm. Fine. Upon hearing this, Lu Pingon nodded, not standing on ceremony, and took out his magical sword to dissect the Vajra bear. He collected the bear paws, bear gall, and bear blood, the more valuable materials, into his storage bag. After all, he couldn't fit the bear's large body entirely into his storage bag. Moreover, if the corpse of a dead demon beast isn't handled promptly, it can't be used later. Taoist, where is the 7-star grass? After finishing, Lu Pingon looked at the two and asked. It's just ahead. The elderly man and the young man very courteously led Lu Pingon to a cave filled with a foul stench. Inside the cave, there were 5 spirit grasses shimmering with specks of starlight. Indeed, 7-star grass, and there are 5 of them. Lu Pingon's face showed joy. But looking at the 5-star grasses, he was somewhat unsure how to divide them. Just as he was about to speak, the elderly man proactively said, Taoist, since you defeated the Vajra bear, how about you take 3 of the 7-star grass and we take 2? Are you two only taking 2? Lu Pingon frowned slightly. After all, they had discovered the 7-star grass, and all he did was defeat the Vajra bear. Taking the larger share seemed a bit embarrassing. It's fine, it's fine. If it weren't for you, we would not have been able to obtain the 7-star grass so easily. The elderly man, wearing a Taoist robe and showing a kindly face, said, I won't take advantage of you, I'll take 2. Lu Pingon wasn't naive, realizing that their fear was the reason for their offer. But in his view, he had already obtained part of the Vajra bear, so 2 7-star grasses were sufficient. Thank you, Taoist. You are alone. If convenient, we could accompany each other. Amazed inside, the elderly man thought that today he had met a good person. He immediately guessed that Lu Pingon must be a young master from a large family here for training. Only such family members could be so generous. Because ordinary loose cultivators, if characteristic of kindness and generosity, would have difficulty reaching the 9th level of chi refinement. He continued, This old Taoist is not without skill. I know some techniques to inspect and find spiritual herbs and medicines. Lu Pingon glanced at the elder and the young man, pondered for a moment and nodded. Okay. The elder is surnamed Kong. Just call me Old Taoist Kong, and this is my grandson, Little Kong. The elder's face showed delight as he immediately spoke out. And Ping. Lu Pingon gave out his pseudonym. An Old Taoist Kong thought for a moment and had not heard of any prominent in families in Jiang country. However, he did not care, for who would use their real name within the secret realm? Besides, other than the children of major families, who knows? There might be a successor from a hidden lineage. Soon afterward, the 3 of them divided the 7-star grass and traveled together. Like Old Taoist Kong and the young man who had no specific destination, their main goal was to find more spiritual herbs and medicines in the periphery. Thus, they slowly moved in the direction pointed out by Lu Pingon. Beside a mountain cliff. Boom boom boom. For men and women were hunting a massive tiger, its body ablaze with black flames. Roar roar roar. At this moment, under the combined attack of the 4, the black tiger kept roaring with wounds all over. But the black flames enveloping its body rolled fiercely, presenting a terrifying power that kept the 4 from approaching. They could only suppress it with magic artifacts. Then, at that moment, Poochie! A sword light slashed down from above, directly decapitating the black tiger, blood splattering everywhere. I'll take this spirit fruit. Lu Qingshan, dressed in a platinum brocade robe and holding a magical sword, stood in the air and spoke to the 4, who were astonished and caught off guard. The 4 looked at Lu Qingshan, wanting to say something but afraid to speak. Outside the secret realm, Lu Qingshan and a nascent soul immortal had arrived. They had all seen Lu Qingshan and knew he was not simple. Moreover, the sheer power displayed by Lu Qingshan's sword had left them all fearful, knowing they were no match for him. After speaking, Lu Qingshan did not wait for their agreement and stepped forward to take something. On the mountain cliff, a fruit radiating spiritual essence suddenly fell into his hand. After placing the fruit into the spirit plant bag, Lu Qingshan didn't even glance at the four and rode his sword away. "Humph, that's just too domineering," a woman muttered under her breath with a dissatisfied face. However, she only dared to mumble quietly and not make a fuss. After all, the sharp and soaring sword momentum from him had made her involuntarily palpitate. Seeing Lu Qingshan completely disappear, a middle-aged man next to her said with a bitter smile, "The cultivation world is just like this, survival of the fittest. It's already good that he didn't attack us." Although we subdued this spectral flame tiger, its strength was comparable to a second rank, its body extraordinarily tough, yet it was pierced by his single sword. No wonder he was sent to the secret realm by a nascent soul immortal. The other two looked at the spectral flame tiger on the ground, their eyes filled with fear and trepidation. They then began discussing how to divide this spectral flame tiger. "This purple shadow secret realm is really boring. We should head to the central area sooner to find some gains." Lu Qingshan stood on his flying sword, glanced at the sky dome enveloped in purple shadow, and headed towards the core area of the secret realm. He knew the secret realm was divided into the periphery and the central area. The spiritual medicines and herbs in the periphery grew without any pattern and were limited in age. The center was different. The spiritual medicines and herbs there were precious and rare, and a few dangerous places almost always contained rare spiritual medicines and exotic fruits. And the heavenly spirit fruits that Purple Shadow Secret Realm was known for were mostly in the central area. Although Lu Qingshan's trip was said to be a visit home to see Purple Shadow Secret Realm and hone himself, he actually wanted to get a few heavenly spirit fruits to take back. After all, his sister Lu Qingzhu had only a 7th grade spiritual root. Though he had prepared 2 foundation establishment elixirs. In his view that was still too few. He thought she would need at least 7 or 8, so his sister could face the foundation establishment without any burden or psychological pressure. Moreover, there was also his younger brother, Lu Qingsong, at home. Though with their father's abilities, getting a few foundation establishment elixirs should not be difficult. But with so many siblings and stepmothers at home, he felt his father could hardly take care of everyone. So, whatever he could take care of, he would handle himself. SAR the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. And this trip home, after seeing the situation at Qingzhou Mountain and his grandfather, he also thought of helping out as much as he could. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 952. Lu Chuanjin. My older brother seems pretty fierce. Purple Shadow Secret Realm. Ah, Taoist, spare my life. Taoist, where have we offended you? Please let us go, we'll give you everything we have. In a dense forest, piercing screams echoed. Several cultivators were seen frantically fleeing. Behind them rode a man on a giant wolf, leisurely pursuing them, occasionally releasing fireballs and wind blades. However, these fireballs and wind blades seemed to be toying with a few. The real killing intent came from above. Above the dense forest hovered a massive golden-crowned black feather eagle. On the eagle's back stood a man and a woman. The man was tall and sturdy, with a fierce and resolute face, holding a dark gold-colored great bow, drawing the bowstring towards the fleeing loose cultivators below. With a tremble of the bowstring, a blood-red arrow shot out, killing a loose cultivator below. This blood arrow seemed to have a demon nature, as its blood-red glow became even more intense after killing a person, returning to the burly man's hand. Tuoba Lai's blood feather arrow has become increasingly sharp. Now in the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, I'm afraid no one can withstand the might of Brother Tuoba's single arrow, said the beautiful woman next to him with sultry eyes, as if water were about to drip from her eyes. Those maniacs from the Heavenly Sword Sect, and that Lu Qingshan, who was sent here earlier by a nascent soul immortal, are not to be underestimated, he said. Otherwise, why would I waste time here making arrows? The tall man, with his fierce brows and eyes gleaming with a dark golden luster like those of a hawk, was incredibly sharp. Amid his speech, he gently pulled the bowstring again, killing another person. Tuoba Lai, you madman! Yelled one of the 2 remaining fleeing cultivators, clearly recognizing the archer. He never expected to encounter the madman of spirit-taming sect in the secret realm. Spirit-taming sect, Tuo Balai. By a large tree, Lu Chuanjun, who hid his body, watched this scene, looking up at the eagle and the man and woman. Even in his eyes, this disciple of spirit-taming sect named Tuo Balai was far from ordinary. Completely incomparable to the sect disciple he had killed before from Wuxia sect. However, the other's behavior reminded him of some rumors about spirit-taming sect. Although the spirit-taming sect was a righteous sect, it bordered the Myriad Beasts mountain range, and disciples of the sect all formed contracts with demon beasts, hunting them, spending long periods mixed with the beasts, which often caused them to acquire beastly traits. Thus, many disciples of spirit-taming sect had a strong urge to kill, and they acted arrogantly on a normal day. Even more unscrupulous than the sword cultivators from Heavenly Sword sect. Now, seeing the three from spirit-taming sect kill wantonly and take joy in slaughter, he truly understood. Even so, he had no inclination to get involved with the situation at hand. Clearly, the strength of these three were not ordinary. Unless he went all out, using second-rank talismans or second-rank puppets, he would not be a match for them. But he had a contingency plan, and as disciples of spirit-taming sect, they definitely had their own trump cards. So naturally, he wouldn't take the risk. However, after Tuo Balai on the eagle's back killed the cultivator who had just cursed him, his eyes gleaming with dark golden light, he suddenly turned towards the location of Lu Chuanjun. There's another one hiding here. After observing for a moment, he sneered, drew the bowstring fully, and fired at Lu Quanzhen's location. Whoosh! The blood arrow streaked like a rainbow, bursting towards Lu Quanzhen's spot. Seeking death. Lu Chuanjun immediately felt locked in by a chi mechanism, his eyes suddenly cold. S.E.A. The Novel Fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. With a raise of his hand, a 5 elements colored little fish burst forth from the palm of his hand. Boom! The 5 elements colored little fish instantly collided with the blood-red arrow, triggering layers of explosive energy. Indeed not simple, remarked Lu Chuanjun. His eyes focused as he formed a gesture incantation, causing the 5 elements light to surge around the small fish, swallowing the blood-red arrow with force. Seeing the wolf-riding man nearby looking towards him, Lu Chuanjun chose not to entangle any further. He immediately executed the divine rock technique, soaring away like a sky pung, leaving a lingering image behind. Buzzing! The blood arrow continued to pulse with blood-red light, breaking through the 5 elements colored little fish and returning back to the hands of Tuo Balai. Which sect's disciple is this man? Tuo Balai on the eagle's back focused his eyes, feeling that his blood arrow was slightly diminished by the opponent just now. Judging by his clothing, he's not from our sects, said the beautiful woman by his side, her expression filled with surprise. She hadn't expected anyone besides the geniuses from the other 3 great immortal sects to be able to block her brother Tuoba's arrows. Interesting. Zhouba, don't let him escape, commanded Tuo Balai, his eyes showing a trace of ferocity, as he looked at Lu Chuanjun who was getting away with a snarl. The blood-colored arrow continued to rest on the bowstring, his chi locked on Lu Chuanjun. The man below, who was collecting a storage bag while riding the giant wolf, upon hearing his brother's words, instantly looked towards Lu Chuanjun and patted his giant wolf. Roar! The giant wolf howled, a hurricane emerging around it as it streaked towards Lu Chuanjun. You won't let it go, will you? Lu Quanzhen's figure soared, his eyes ice-cold, as he looked back at the golden-crowned black feather eagle in the sky. If it were 1-on-1, he was confident he could slay the opponent. But with 3 against 1, it would be difficult for him to approach and cut down this man named Tuo Balai. Besides using a second-rank puppet and second-rank talisman, he couldn't think of another way to slay the opponent immediately. But he had to ensure all 3 were slain with a second-rank talisman. Otherwise, if even one managed to escape, and later joined with other spirit-taming sect disciples, he would have trouble on his hands. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 953, Lu Chuanjun. My older brother seems pretty fierce. Just as Lu Chuanjun was thinking about escaping using a talisman, he suddenly realized he was not far from Lu Pingon. He alone dared not ensure the annihilation of all three enemies. But Lu Pingon also had a second-rank talisman in his hand. As long as Lu Pingon and he acted simultaneously, he was confident they could eliminate all three. Immediately, Lu Quanzhen's eyes narrowed slightly, filled with killing intent as he channeled his spiritual power into his identity token, calling for Lu Pingan's help. He then flew towards the direction where Lu Pingon was located. And he held two second-rank talismans in his hand, waiting for the right moment. Roar! The giant wolf was very fast, relentlessly pursuing Lu Quanzhen. The golden-crowned black feather eagle in the sky was doing the same, relentlessly targeting Lu Quanzhen. At this moment, Lu Pingon was gathering spirit grass with old Taoist Kong and his grandson. It must be said, old Taoist Kong certainly had some exceptional skills in prospecting, which had yielded quite a rich harvest for Lu Pingon along the way. Although they had encountered two demon beasts, both were easily dealt with by Lu Pingon. Just then, an identity token appeared in Lu Pingan's hand. As he looked at the token trembling and emitting a red glow, his expression suddenly darkened, and a harsh light shone in his eyes. "I have something to attend to. I'll be right back," Lu Pingon said to the two Taoists. As his words fell, his figure burst forth, stirring up a long trail of forceful wind and waves that whipped their robes. Has Taoistan encountered some trouble? Little Kong watched the rapidly disappearing Lu Pingon, looking somewhat shocked. Just now, a token appeared in his hand. It must be a token of summoning. It seems a friend is in trouble. Let's go take a look. This Taoistan is no ordinary person. If you can befriend him, there will be many benefits in the future, Old Kong immediately said. Though he had partnered with Lu Pingon partially because he recognized Lu Pingan's fighting abilities, the main reason was he saw that Lu Pingon was generous and kind-hearted, hoping his grandson could befriend him. After all, as a loose cultivator, he knew well the hardships of being one. He hoped his grandson could join a faction through Lu Pingon and follow him. ZZZT. 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 Lu Pingon was very worried about Lu Quanzhen's safety and even used a Godspeed talisman on himself, boosting his speed to the extreme, making it hard to capture his movement. Had he not cultivated the 100 refinements treasure body art to the 5th layer, an ordinary energy refining cultivator wouldn't have been able to withstand such speed. Before long, Lu Pingon sensed that the chi emitted by the token was just ahead. He saw a golden-crowned black eagle hovered in the sky with two figures on it. One of them held a bow and arrow and was shooting downwards hunter style. "You! Seeking death!" Lu Pingon immediately understood the situation and roared furiously at the figures on the eagle, his voice booming like thunder exploding across the heavens. Lu Pingon was usually not inclined to fight or kill. But at that moment, seeing someone hunting his brother like prey, a surge of intense rage and killing intent filled his heart. Death! Lu Pingan's foot tapped, and his whole body, like a ferocious dragon released from its cage, shot into the sky, his large and mighty body blasting through layers of air. Boom! 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 His tall and majestic body now seemed like a rising dragon. His muscles swelling as if they were expanding, endless treasure light flowing through his body. Ha! Tuobalai, seeing Lu Pingon suddenly appear, was instantly on edge, sensing intense danger. But the next moment, his lips curled into a cruel smile, and he loudly said, "Very good, very good. It seems the Purple Shadow secret realm is truly interesting, adding much pleasure." In the same breath, a black gold sharp arrow appeared in his hand, aimed at Lu Pingon. The beautiful woman beside him was naturally not just for show. Seeing this and knowing Lu Pingon was a body cultivator wanting to get close, she immediately performed a gesture incantation, and a red luo umbrella appeared in the air, her hand supporting a law bead. Essay! The black gold sharp arrow burst forth with a dazzling radiance, the sound of wind and thunder, shooting towards Lu Pingan's brow, aiming to kill with a single strike. Lu Pingon pulled back his right fist as if gathering all his force and the surrounding air into his fist. A mighty black great axe emerged behind him, spanning the heavens and the earth. Split the mountain! His fist thundered out, and the great axe slashed down, unleashing an unstoppable ferocious and dominant force, annihilating everything in its path. Danger! 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 Tuobalai's mind sounded alarm bells of danger, feeling a cloud of lethal threat envelop him like never before. Not just him, The beautiful female cultivator beside him and the golden-crowned black feather eagle below them were enveloped by the death shadow, filled with fear. Saw the novel, F.I.R. at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. They couldn't understand what was happening. Wasn't the secret realm only supposed to allow energy-refining cultivators? This kind of power, and you're telling me he's an energy-refining cultivator? But they didn't have time to think further, as the divine fist had already obliterated the black gold sharp arrow and was now right in front of them. Boom! 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 The red luo umbrella, the body-protecting beads, the body-protecting robe, the body-protecting chi barrier, all shattered under the force of the punch. Perfectly demonstrating what it means to break all laws with sheer force. At that moment, both the people and the eagle exploded into a shower of blood. This, Lu Chuanjun, watching from above, was momentarily stunned and a bit confused. He hadn't even transmitted how to make their move, yet Lu Pingon had already made his. And his big brother seemed a bit fierce. Even he felt a chill in his heart facing that burst of ferocity. Lu Chuanjun didn't think much further, his expression ice-cold as he looked towards the wolf rider behind him, his eyes full of murderous intent. "You've followed for so long, let's see what you've got." If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 954. Lu Chuanjun. My older brother seems pretty fierce. How is this possible? The man pursuing Lu Chuanjun gazed at the scene above him, his complexion suddenly turning deathly pale. He had never expected that his brother Tuoba Lai would be killed by a single punch. It was known that Brother Tuoba was a formidable figure within the spirit-taming sect, with an impressive combat power. But now, he had been killed by a single punch. And there was also Sister Yang and the golden-crowned black feather eagle. His face was extremely pale and full of shock. Seeing Lu Chuanjun coming to kill him, he was overwhelmed with fear and wanted to run away. But his mount, the giant wolf, was startled by the recent show of force and hesitated. Go! He hurriedly took out a talisman from his storage bag, hoping to use it to escape. But Lu Quanzhen's attack was already on the way. The Kuanping 5 Elements technique surged like a massive wave, and the Thunderfire talisman he had been holding was activated in an instant. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Rolling thunder and flames rushed towards Zhou Ba. In the blink of an eye, they devoured both him and the giant wolf. Chuanjun, are you okay? At that moment, Lu Pingon arrived by Lu Quanzhen's side and asked. That punch he had thrown without holding back had cost him dearly, causing his blood and qi to surge within him, leaving his face somewhat pale. I'm fine. A warm feeling arose in Lu Quanzhen's heart. He indicated that he had just been chased by 3 people and couldn't resolve the situation alone, so he had signaled for help, but he was not seriously harmed. That's good to hear. Lu Pingon said with a smile upon hearing this. I didn't expect your strength to be so astonishing, brother. Lu Chuanjun exclaimed. He felt that Lu Pingan's combat power now might be enough to challenge Lu Qingshan. However, he could tell that the price Lu Pingon paid for that punch was not small. It's all right, I've always been unclear about my own strength, as I've never used my full force before. Lu Pingon shook his head. After breaking through the 5th layer of the 100 Refinements treasure body art, he had slain a few parasitic cultivators. Then on the way to the Purple Shadow secret realm, he killed a few energy-refining robbery cultivators. So he wasn't quite sure about his own combat power. He only knew that his strength was not inferior to a 9th-level energy refinement. These few seem quite wealthy. It's been a substantial haul. Lu Chuanjun picked up a pile of storage bags and magic artifacts from the shredded magical robe of the wolf-mounted man. The 3 had hunted down many cultivators, resulting in more than a dozen storage bags. Then he and Lu Pingon picked up all the magic artifacts and storage bags from Tuoba Lai and the female cultivator. He had thought of befriending them to help his grandson. But now he knew that they were completely unmatched. Ia the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Unless he and his grandson were strong enough and daring enough to go with them to the center and then come out alive. Grandfather, rest assured, I will surely break through to the Foundation establishment in the future. I won't disappoint you. Young Kong took a deep breath, speaking earnestly. He knew his grandfather was striving so hard at his age, entirely for him. Otherwise, he could comfortably serve as a visiting noble servant in a small family based on his skills, enjoying his later years. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 955. Purple Shadow Mountain, Golden Bodhi Date. Outside the Purple Shadow Secret Realm. Ah! The expression of a nascent soul immortal from the spirit-taming sect suddenly turned grim. Whenever they sent disciples to the Purple Shadow Secret Realm for training, they would bring along their soul plates to confirm any deaths within the realm. After all, these disciples were not all unparalleled geniuses, but each could be considered outstanding. If there was a widespread occurrence of death, it would suggest a special situation had arisen, and they would have to take measures to terminate the venture into the secret realm. Right now, although there hadn't been a mass fatality, just now, 3 soul plates in his storage bag had shattered at around the same time. Such an incident was extremely rare. The deaths of 3 disciples at almost the same time suggested a high probability they encountered danger together. Now should not yet be the time to reach the central area, how could? And among these 3 soul plates, this Tuobalai I remember has divine power, strength out of the ordinary. The face of the nascent soul immortal from the spirit-taming sect was grave. What is it, Black Wind Immortal? Could it be that a disciple of your sect encountered some accidents in the secret realm? The nearby Qing Yun's sect immortal, stroking his beard, said with a smile. Humph. This immortal merely thought of some matters. The spirit-taming sect immortal stood with his hands behind his back, speaking without any niceties. Though the Purple Shadow Secret Realm was merely a training ground, it still held some competitive significance for the 4 great immortal sects. Therefore, even if his own disciples had just died, he wouldn't admit it, for fear of losing face. After all, it was just 3 disciples. The final outcome depended on who would have the last laugh. Oh. Since we're idly waiting, Black Wind Immortal, would you be interested in making a bet? The Qing Yun sect immortal said with an unchanged smile. At their level, heavenly and earthly treasures of use were very rare and difficult to purchase with spirit stones. So they often bartered or traded for them. Seeing an opportunity now, he naturally thought of securing some benefit through this method. Since Immortal Li is interested, this immortal will naturally oblige. The spirit-taming sect immortal said. There's a saying, one may lose but should never lose face. If he were to refuse, it would appear as though he were afraid of the opponent. Moreover, he had some confidence in his own disciples. After all, the disciples of the spirit-taming sect were battle-hardened, incomparable to those from Qing Yun and Wuxia sects. The recent 3 likely encountered some unforeseen circumstances. I wonder how Pingon, Chuanjin, and Qingshan are doing right now. Sir the Nell Fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Chongqing sat cross-legged at a distance, his expression very calm. With the Lu family genealogy, he was clearly aware of his children's life and death status. He couldn't help but feel a bit worried seeing the occasional Foundation establishment cultivator's expression suddenly change drastically. However, seeing the calm and composed expression of the Foundation establishment cultivators from Golden Dragon Ridge, he guessed that Lu Chuanjin hadn't run into a disciple of the Jin family. This made Lu Chongqing think that he could judge his son's situation through the expressions of those from the Jin family. In the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, within a dense forest. This person really had a backup plan. Lu Chuanjin was sorting through the storage bags he had obtained and couldn't help but click his tongue in wonder upon seeing a talisman treasure inside Tuobalai's storage bag. However, this was also because the person was too arrogant, and Lu Pingan's combat power was surprisingly formidable. Under normal circumstances, who would have thought that an energy-refining cultivator could be so fierce in battle? Lu Chuanjin had once participated in the battle at White Tiger Mountain, and was aware of the strength of Foundation establishment. Lu Pingan's punch was not inferior to that of his Uncle Li's offensive moves, even possibly surpassing them. In such a fleeting moment, the opponent had no chance to respond at all. Unless the person alongside the woman had defended with full power from the start or deployed the talisman treasure, it would have been a dead end all the same. But how could someone as unbending and unruly as Tuobalai confront someone with full force right from the beginning? This served as a reminder to Lu Chuanjun not to underestimate anyone in the world. With the outcome of life and death undecided, one can never truly know the strength of an opponent. Just like his sister Lu Wangshu, who had just come of age. A 5th-level energy refining cultivator, yet she was able to produce dozens of talismans, including 2nd-rank talismans, and set up a talisman formation. Had one underestimated and belittled her, even a peak energy refining cultivator might have died at her hands. Hiss, my family situation seems a bit too astonishing, doesn't it? At that moment, Lu Chuanjun suddenly realized that his family situation seemed a bit exaggerated. Whether it was the brother beside him, his brother Lu Qingshan who had recently returned home, or his sister Lu Wangshu who had just reached adulthood, any one of them could be called a genius. Placed in any other foundation establishment family, each would be considered a top-tier seed that could lead the family to greater heights. Yet his own family had 3 such individuals in just a few years. If it weren't for his encounter with his uncle, he wouldn't be able to hold a candle to the 3 of them. Plus, he remembered there were a few siblings at home with quite rapid cultivation speeds who hadn't participated in the family spirit testing ceremony at the age of 6. Hiss. Lu Quanzhen's eyes showed a thoughtful expression. He shook his head, not thinking further, and finished sorting through the 13 storage bags he had collected. There weren't many spirit stones inside, totaling less than 1,000 in all. But there were 33 magic artifacts. 6 middle grade, 19 high quality, and 8 top grade magic artifacts. It just goes to show that everyone entering the Purple Shadow Secret Realm would use their spirit stones to purchase magic artifacts, elixir medicines, talismans, and so on. Besides the magic artifacts, other gains were mainly spiritual herbs and medicines. Lu Chuanjun made a rough estimate. The gains from slaying these 3 individuals amounted to roughly 20 to 30,000 spirit stones. Phew! At that moment, Lu Pingon opened his eyes and exhaled a breath of turbid energy. He was only grappling with the shock to his vitality, and with the use of elixir medicines, it wouldn't take long for him to recover. Big brother, I just sorted through these storage bags. You can make use of these magic artifacts. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 956. Purple Shadow Mountain, Golden Bodhi Date. Lu Chuanjun spoke out. Okay, Chuanjun, you've worked hard. Lu Pingon glanced at him and said with a smile. When he took over the magic artifact, he asked, are these few magic artifacts just taken from the disciples of the spirit taming sect? Hee, don't worry brother, they are not from the 3 spirit taming sect cultivators just now. Lu Chuanjun laughed lightly, knowing that Lu Pingon was concerned that the magic artifacts might bring trouble. He had naturally considered this aspect a long time ago. Hearing this, Lu Pingon then put on a pair of silver-lined black boots, wore a magic bracelet on his hand, and hung a jade pendant on his waist. Immediately, the 2 brothers rose into the air with their artifacts and observed their rough location. Seeing a purple ring-shaped mountain peak in the distance, shrouded in mist and reaching straight into the clouds, they knew that this direction led to the central area of the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, the Purple Shadow Mountain. The 2 brothers immediately headed in that direction. Meanwhile, in the Secret Realm, many family disciples had gathered together or formed alliances with others, baring their fangs and engaging in a massive cleanse against solitary loose cultivators. This situation grew more severe the closer one got to the central region, with killings becoming increasingly frequent. Occasionally, when cultivators from the immortal sects, family disciples, or powerful loose cultivators encountered one another, they would tacitly pass by without conflict, or keep it limited to minor skirmishes. After all, it wasn't time for them to engage in deadly struggles over treasures yet. Lu Pingon and Lu Chuanjun, the 2 brothers, were also among the solitary loose cultivators. But they were different from other opportunistic cultivators who came to try their luck in the chaos in hopes of striking it big. The 2 belonged to the top of the food chain among cultivators in this secret realm. As they traveled, whenever they encountered a cultivator with malicious intentions, Lu Chuanjun would show no mercy and strike to kill without hesitation. Although Lu Pingon was reluctant to kill indiscriminately, he knew that this was the norm upon entering a secret realm. If there were few enemies, he would support his brother from the rear. But if there were many, the brothers would join forces, aiming for quick and decisive battles. Along the way, the strength of the two brothers was formidable, yielding plentiful rewards, so that Lu Pingon even had an extra bundle on his shoulder. This bundle was full of storage bags. After all, storage bags couldn't be put into other storage bags. Discarding so many storage bags would be too wasteful. Thus, Lu Pingon wrapped them up with a magical robe and carried them on his shoulder. In this manner, after several days of travel, the two were finally able to clearly see the ring-shaped mountain peak ahead. The mountain soared into the clouds, thousands of feet high, with steep terrain, sheer cliffs and precipices, covered with bizarre rocks and ancient trees towering into the sky, all shrouded in rolling purple mist, hazy and obscure. Heavenly spirit fruits and other rare and exotic herbs, heavenly and earthly treasures, were all within this purple shadow mountain. Big brother, this purple shadow mountain is blocked by mist that affects the mental spirit and consciousness. You should wear the spiritual armor to prevent accidents, said Lu Chuanjun to Lu Pingon. The mist of purple shadow mountain was very thick. Once inside, even cultivators could easily become lost and needed to explore step by step carefully. Moreover, the demon beasts of the purple shadow secret realm were mainly concentrated in this purple shadow mountain. A moment of carelessness could result in a sudden attack, catching one completely off guard. Lu Pingon had previously thought the spiritual armor was too ostentatious, so he only wore a simple green vestment robe. Hearing Lu Quanzhen's words now, he nodded and replied, "Okay." This suit of spiritual armor was obtained from White Tiger Mountain and was given to Lu Chuanjun by Lu Chongxing. It was dark gold all over, with elegant lines, a cold metallic luster, and a pair of dark gold battle boots. With his tall and imposing stature, Lu Pingon, now clad in dark gold armor, looked like a mighty general, possessing an air of dominance. "This suit of spiritual armor does indeed suit you very well, big brother," said Lu Chuanjun. "Hee hee." Lu Pingon simply grinned and touched the spiritual armor, feeling quite fond of it. Indeed, it was an excellent piece of armor, but its appearance was too conspicuous, making it easy to attract attention wherever one went. The two arrived at the foot of Purple Shadow Mountain, and not far away, a team of 5 people also approached. But both parties merely glanced at each other before climbing the mountain from different directions. After all, it was quite an achievement to have reached the foot of the mountain at this time. Without conflicting interests, there was no need to waste mana fighting a life-and-death battle. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Just as they began ascending the mountain, suddenly, a number of inch-long shadows streaked through the lush jungle, coming at them with extreme speed. "Be careful." Lu Pingan's expression darkened, his blood and energy roared within as his hands clenched into fists and he struck out fiercely, causing the dark gold armor to shine with dazzling brilliance. Bang bang bang! The shadows burst open one after another, scattering black blood that caused the vegetation on the ground to corrode and wither. "Big brother, are you okay?" Chapter 957. Purple Shadow Mountain, Golden Bodhi Date. Throughout, they also heard many sounds of demon beasts fighting. Roar! Suddenly, a tremendous roar came from the side, and they saw a grey giant ape charging towards Lu Pingon and Lu Chuanjun. It moved quickly with long arms, pouncing directly with its fingers like sharp iron hooks. Lu Pingan's fist shone with a faint golden luster as he struck forward. Boom! Fist and claw collided, sounding like metal striking metal, extremely harsh to the ears. The grey giant ape instantly let out a pained wail, flew backward, its nails broken, its arms spasming. What kind of demon beast is this, with such an extraordinary physical body? Lu Chuanjun looked somewhat astonished. Through their time together, he had come to deeply understand the strength of his elder brother's physical body. Literally a humanoid demon beast. No, more like a fierce beast among demon beasts. Even cultivators knew not to let Lu Pingon get close. But demon beasts were always eager to charge head-on. So facing this kind, Lu Pingon usually ended the fight with just 1 or 2 punches. Like this giant ape, to suffer only arm spasms from one of Lu Pingan's punches, without even fracturing bones, was quite impressive. Roar! The grey giant ape let out a roar of agony, clenching its fist and charging at Lu Pingon again, its fist gleaming with a black gold sheen. Bang! Lu Pingon met it with a massively powerful counterstrike. On this punch, the giant ape screamed in pain, its fist torn apart, its arms' bones shattered, oozing black blood. It now looked terrified and afraid in its eyes, and immediately began to flee in a frenzy. Elder brother chase. Lu Chuanjin immediately said. Powerful demon beasts like this often possessed fortunes. After all, not only cultivators consume spiritual medicines and herbs, but demon beasts do the same. This giant ape was clearly extraordinary, obviously having some fortune on its side. If they could find its lair, there must be certain rewards. In an instant, both men chased after the giant ape. The giant ape was extremely fast, leaping 100 steps through the air in one bound. If not for Lu Pingon and Lu Chuanjin being extraordinary themselves, they might not have been able to catch up at all. Although Lu Pingon was capable of overtaking and killing it, upon hearing Lu Quanzhen's words, he held back and pursued doggedly. Moments later, they arrived at a cliff steep. They saw the agile silhouette of the giant ape leap, jumping directly off the cliff, disappearing without a trace. Huh! Lu Pingon and Lu Chuanjin noticed a stone cave at the bottom of the cliff, which likely was the giant ape's nest. After exchanging a glance, they immediately activated their cultivation techniques, creating a protective aura around them and entered the stone cave. Chapter 958. Heavenly Spirit Fruit. Go all out. These golden Bodhi dates are not yet ripe, and there's not much profit in turning them over to the sect. We've already gained a lot this trip, around 40 to 50,000 spirit stones. We're not short on such items. It's better to improve ourselves. Lu Chuanjin knew his elder brother was of a thrifty nature and said with a smile. Ah, we gained that many spirit stones? Lu Pingon expressed his amazement. Although he knew that they had reaped quite a bounty, he had not yet accounted for it specifically. The figure took him by surprise. After all, before coming to the Purple Shadow secret realm, his entire fortune was just over 100 spirit stones. In order to expedite his journey, he had spent 38 spirit stones to purchase a spirit steed, which had died en route, causing him grief for quite some time. That's right, so Big Brother need not worry about waste. Moreover, there's still much to explore in the secret realm. If you improve your strength now, you can harvest even more later. Lu Chuanjin advised, handing over 2 golden Bodhi dates to Lu Pingon. This golden Bodhi date has a very domineering medicinal effect. Big Brother, just be a little careful. Although the other's physical body was extraordinary, he still cared to give a reminder. Afterward, he bit off a piece of the golden Bodhi date in his hand and slowly refined it. All right. Upon hearing this, Lu Pingon didn't fuss and bit off half a golden Bodhi date. The fruit flesh melted upon entering his mouth. It was likely not fully ripe yet, so there was a strong bitter taste. However, this mixture of sour and bitter sweetness immediately transformed into an overwhelming and domineering power surging towards his limbs and bones. Although the force was domineering, Lu Pingan's body had indeed undergone 100 refinements. He quickly cycled through the 100 refinements treasure body art to refine this medicinal power. After a long time, Lu Pingon managed to refine the medicinal power of half a golden Bodhi date, slightly furrowed his brow, and felt the condition of his physical body. During the baptism process just now, he faintly sensed that the medicinal power seemed to penetrate into the flesh and marrow of the bones. After pondering for a moment, looking at the 1.5 golden Bodhi dates in his hand, he directly swallowed them. Boom! Instantaneously, Lu Pingon felt as if struck by lightning. The golden Bodhi date transformed into an overwhelming, domineering force raging through his flesh, meridians, limbs, and bones. His heart thumped vigorously, his blood roared like a river, and his internal organs resounded like a gong. Lu Chuanjin opened his eyes immediately upon hearing this commotion. Seeing his big brother's face contorted with pain and his body like a blazing furnace, robust vitality and might burst forth from within, ferocious and pressing. What's happening? Lu Chuanjin was astonished. How had his brother become like this in the blink of an eye? He immediately noticed that the golden Bodhi date in Lu Pingan's hand had been eaten, and his expression changed slightly as he guessed what happened. The medicinal power of the golden Bodhi date was extremely domineering. He had only consumed 1/3 of one. Eating too much could lead to an overbearing effect, making it hard to refine and possibly damaging oneself. Now, Lu Pingon had eaten 2 golden Bodhi dates right away. However, Lu Chuanjin knew his big brother's character was steady and wouldn't act rashly. He immediately acted as a protector and quietly observed Lu Pingan's condition. After a long while, Lu Pingan's surging vitality gradually retracted. He opened his eyes, exhaled a breath of turbid energy, and wiped the sweat from his forehead. "Big brother, what was that?" Lu Chuanjin asked with concern. "Chuanjin, during the baptism of the physical body just now, I felt that the golden Bodhi date could penetrate the bones and marrow, eliminating impurities from the flesh and bones, achieving a true marrow cleansing transformation. But the medicinal effect of half a golden Bodhi date wasn't enough, so I just tried it out. If one consumes multiple dates at once, and the medicinal power is sufficient, then it can penetrate into the flesh and marrow." Lu Pingon said with a smile on his face. Because he practiced martial arts and body refinement constantly, he had a nuanced control over his physical body. After consuming half a golden Bodhi date, he had keenly sensed part of its effects, so he attempted to swallow a date and a half. CTH Novelfire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Following the baptism, the effect was indeed as he had surmised, with advances in both meridians and bones, as well as internal organs. Moreover, it also stimulated the condensing of magical treasures, which were used to enhance the 100 Refinements treasure body art. Of course, he dared to do this because he was confident. By using the domineering medicinal power to enter the flesh and marrow, thus achieving a true marrow cleansing transformation, Lu Chuanjin suddenly understood the principle. But he knew that this process was very painful and dangerous. If one wasn't careful enough to withstand the refining of such formidable medicinal power, their meridians and bones might shatter due to the violent medicinal force. "I'll try it." Lu Chuanjin, looking at the remaining more than half of the golden Bodhi date in his hand, swallowed it. In an instant, the violent medicinal power forced him to groan in pain. His facial features twisted. Pain, pain, pain. As Lu Pingon had said, the domineering medicinal power would penetrate deep into the flesh and bones. But similarly, it was excruciating. He swiftly endured the pain and circulated the 5 elements Kuanping technique to refine the medicinal power. Yet, the surging and violent medicinal power still made his body tremble as if undergoing spasms. After a moment, the medicinal power gradually subsided. After a long time, Lu Chuanjin opened his eyes to assess his condition. The primary effect seemed to be the advancement of his cultivation level, and there was some effect on the refinement of the physical body, but it wasn't significant. Is it that the medicinal power is insufficient, or because I had previously consumed the dragon scale fruit? Lu Chuanjin frowned slightly and pondered. Years ago, his uncle Chu Chang'e returned and had given him 2 dragon scale fruits. Those 2 dragon scale fruits had caused his entire being, inside and out, to undergo 2 transformative baptisms like rebirths, establishing a robust foundation. He looked towards Lu Pingon and said, "Big brother, I had a chance earlier, and this golden Bodhi date doesn't have much effect on me. You should consume them all." Continuing to consume golden Bodhi dates might be effective, but the results would be mediocre. Besides, if he consumed an entire golden Bodhi date outright, he might need a long time to recuperate before he could consume a second one. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 959. Heavenly Spirit Fruit. Go all out. The situation was clearly not suitable now. "It's okay, I don't need so much." Lu Pingon thought the other was offering it to him, so he quickly waved his hands. Lu Chuanjin naturally saw the implication and affirmed that he really did not need them, as he had consumed such heavenly and earthly treasures in earlier years. Moreover, his physical body was only average, and consuming too much medicine might be too fierce, possibly requiring healing. Hearing this, Lu Pingon finally nodded, plucked 3 golden Bodhi dates from the nearby tree, and swallowed them whole. Lu Chuanjin saw Lu Pingan's muscles swell and his bones clank, but he only grunted in pain. He couldn't help but feel impressed by his brother's tough character. He went to a cave nearby, carefully picked 13 illusion heart grasses, and put them into the spirit plant bag. This spirit plant bag was an exquisite one prepared in advance by Lu Chongqing. It could maintain the spirit and activity of spiritual herbs and medicines. Otherwise, such spirit grass would need to be stored in a special jade box. Otherwise, their spirit would gradually deteriorate. Lu Chuanjin then took an array device from his storage bag and set it up at the entrance of the cave. Although the cave was hard to find, one could never be too careful. After completing this, he calmly waited for Lu Pingon to refine all the golden Bodhi dates. At this moment, in a valley to the southeast of Purple Shadow Mountain, two factions were in a deadlock over 3 spirit flowers about half a meter tall, with glowing green bodies and thick stems, exuding a rich scent of life. The flowers proudly stood alone with fist-sized, jade-green fruits inside them, shimmering with a purple luster, and releasing a refreshing fragrance. This flower is called the Heavenly Spirit Flower, and the fruit it bore was the main ingredient for the Foundation Establishment elixir, known as the Heavenly Spirit Fruit. The Thunderhorn Lion was slain by the 4 of us. The Heavenly Spirit Fruit should rightfully belong to us. For the sake of Wuxia Sect's face, we are willing to concede 1 fruit, which is already a step back. Don't be too greedy. A 40-something blue-robed man wielding a knife and holding a magic pearl spoke. He and 4 others, armed with magic artifacts, formed a formation and faced 3 Wuxia Sect disciples ahead. Humph, seeing that the Thunderhorn Lion was killed by you, giving you 1 fruit is already generous of us. Don't reject the wine only to be forced to drink the penalties. Wuxia Sect coldly replied. While they only had 3 people, the trio faced down 5. Their aura even overpowering the opposition. Heavenly Spirit Fruit? Just then, a voice came from not far. Moments later, a youth in a white golden robe with sword-like eyebrows, handsome features, and an upright posture approached. He looked ahead at the standoff. Not far from the 2 parties, a purple lion lay in pieces, its blood mingling to form pools. Near the pool of blood, there were 3 glowing green spirit flowers about half a meter tall, bearing fruits. Indeed, they are heavenly spirit fruits. Since there are 3, and you can't divide them equally, me taking 1 would be just right. This youth was none other than Lu Qingshan. He looked at the standoff between the 2 parties, his expression indifferent, and spoke lightly. These calm words, plain to the ears of the 7 individuals present, seemed domineering and unquestionable. Lu Qingshan. 3 from Wuxia Sect immediately recognized Lu Qingshan, remembering when he introduced himself while Tianyuan True Immortal visited with disciples from the 4 great immortal sects. Lu Qingshan, you are being too overbearing, wanting to take 1 heavenly spirit fruit for yourself. Sar the Nell Fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. A Wuxia Sect disciple spoke out. As Lu Qingshan was a disciple of a nascent soul immortal, they naturally didn't dare underestimate him, but to lightly declare taking a heavenly spirit fruit, they felt utterly disregarded. Moreover, their elders had instructed them to not lose face against this Lu Qingshan. Swoosh! The response was a dazzling sword light. Boom! This Wuxia Sect disciple immediately unleashed a magical shield to block the sword light. Under the assault of the sword light, the shield's spiritual light dimmed, causing him to stagger back several steps. Do you have an objection? Lu Qingshan's expression turned frosty, revealing a sharp edge, as his magical sword hummed threateningly in his hand, as if brewing some terrifying sword intent. Seeing this, the 5 clan cultivators nearby were taken aback. They hadn't expected Lu Qingshan to be so overbearing, attacking the 3 from Wuxia Sect by himself. Moreover, with just a casual sword, he forced 1 person back, showing terrifying strength that was not at their level at all. Such an individual must be a true genius of the immortal sects, a nascent soul seed. They exchanged glances and immediately said, if this Taoist wants 1 heavenly spirit fruit, the 5 of us have no objections. Given the situation, if the standoff continued and attracted others, it wouldn't end well for any of them. It was better to show goodwill and voluntarily give up a fruit. Upon hearing this, the 3 from Wuxia Sect remained silent. From just that simple sword strike, they recognized Lu Qingshan's astonishing strength. If a real fight ensued, neither side would benefit. Thus, the 5 closest to the heavenly spirit flower picked 1 fruit, then slowly retreated and left. Seeing this, the Wuxia Sect disciples also snorted coldly, grabbed a spirit fruit, and left. Not even taking the flowers makes it easier for me. Lu Qingshan saw both parties take the fruits but leave the flowers, he chuckled. He immediately uprooted the 3 heavenly spirit flowers and placed them in a spirit plant bag. After all, his father had told him that when encountering rare spiritual medicines, one should take them roots and all, especially the heavenly spirit flowers. Although heavenly spirit flowers are hard to grow and fruit in the outside world, since his father had said so, he naturally took it along without hesitation. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Lu Chuanjun put on a somewhat panicked and rushed demeanor and shouted loudly towards the 4 people. He then continued, I merely wish to hide here. I don't know in what way I've offended the fellow Taoists. Heh, you know very well what offense you've committed. Hand over your storage bag now and leave this place, and well spare your life. The 4 people and their 4 beasts were all staring at Lu Chuanjun, exuding a crushing presence. One of them, a middle-aged man in his 30s, stood on a red bird high above and spoke with a commanding tone. Hearing these words, Lu Quanzhen's face showed a troubled expression and said, If the fellow Taoists want this cave, I will leave right now. Don't play dumb, hand over the storage bag or die. Another cultivator, surrounded by a green large snake, spoke coldly and domineeringly. In their words, the green large snake coldly locked its gaze on Lu Chuanjun, flicking its tongue as if ready to devour him. The 4 people and their 4 spiritual beasts, except for one of the female cultivators whose spiritual beast was a seemingly harmless silver ferret, all possessed formidable spiritual beasts. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. The red bird cried mournfully, but the next moment, it was cleaved into 2 by the 2nd-rank puppet, blood spraying the sky. Where are you going? Lu Chuanjun saw the last runaway, promptly put away the talisman treasure, and deployed the divine Peng technique, pursuing. This Su family cultivator was already scared out of his wits by Lu Chuanjun. Seeing him approaching, he was terrified and immediately abandoned his own spiritual beast to delay Lu Chuanjun, frenziedly fleeing. 5 elements Kuanping technique. Lu Chuanjun and the 2nd-rank puppet together swiftly killed this spiritual beast. Blood-burning escape technique. He observed the rapidly disappearing Su family cultivator, face showing ruthlessness, both hands forming gesture incantations, resolutely deploying his secret life-saving technique, blood-burning escape technique. In the dense fog of the purple shadow mountain, once the opponent created some distance, it was possible to lose track. Moreover, one could encounter demon beasts or cultivators inside the mountain at any time, so he needed to end this quickly. Lu Quanzhen's strength and speed were already superior to his opponent. Now, fully deploying such a body-damaging secret technique, he instantly turned into a blood-colored rainbow, catching up with the opponent, and with a loud slap, a 5-colored torrent rolled, knocking the young man flying. Taoist, please! This person even tried to plead, but before he could finish speaking, a small 5-colored fish in the 2nd-rank puppet came killing, penetrated the protective aura, and decapitated him. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Is this a breakthrough? Lu Chuanjun, hearing the activity, opened his eyes, his face showing a look of surprise. Lu Pingon remained seated cross-legged, his body glittering radiantly, a mighty and domineering aura rolling up and down with a golden luster, exerting an overwhelming pressure. This level of body refinement, even foundation establishment would be nothing more. At this moment, Lu Chuanjun felt the air become heavy, somewhat difficult to breathe, and couldn't help but step outside the cave to wait. During this process, his mental spirit was tense, observing the situation on the cliff precipices, worried that others might come. And so, several hours passed, and the golden light in the cave gradually faded. Lu Pingan's muscular bodice golden luster slowly retracted and dissipated. Not long after, Lu Pingan opened his eyes, his gaze brimming with divine light, his pupils flowing with a compelling golden sheen. Phew! Lu Pingon let out a long breath of turbid energy, his eyes golden sheen introverted, dark and profound, shining brightly, his gaze piercing like torches. His body, cloaked in dark golden armor, emitted a zzz sound, burning off the impurities from his skin, turning into wisps of black smoke. After consuming 23 golden Bodhi dates, his cultivation level had broken through to the 8th level energy refinement. However, the advancement of cultivation level was only incidental. His real improvement came from the treasure body technique and the transformation of his flesh and bones. The 100 refinements treasure body art broke through from the 5th layer to the 6th layer. His meridians and bones became much more durable than before, granting his physical body and mana an increased upper limit. After all, only when the flesh, meridians, and bones are durable can they withstand high-intensity bursts of strength and compressed mana. Congratulations, big brother. Lu Chuanjin congratulated Lu Pingon. From the recent commotion, he saw that Lu Pingon had gained many benefits from the golden Bodhi date tree. He thought to himself that the golden Bodhi date was indeed not an ordinary spiritual medicine, one that must be offered up as its effects were truly exceptional. Even so, it was only a body-refining cultivator like Lu Pingon who could swallow and refine more than 20 golden Bodhi dates from the tree in a short period. Chuanjin, you've worked hard. Lu Pingon stood up, dressed in dark golden armor, his imposing figure towering, his face sincere, his eyes reflecting some guilt and self-blame. Previously, in order to maximize the efficacy of the golden Bodhi dates and break through realms, he had put himself in a state where he couldn't move. If it weren't for Lu Chuanjin, if someone had come in, his situation would have been very dangerous. Hey, big brother, you're too kind. Lu Chuanjin said with a smile. He had taken healing pills, and his complexion no longer looked so pale. However, his appearance seemed somewhat worse, and he still needed some time to fully recover. Chuanjin, not only did my cultivation level break through to the 8th level energy refinement, but my 100 refinements treasure body technique also broke through to the 6th layer. Leave the rest to me now, Lu Pingon said with a firm voice. He roughly knew his combat strength and could ensure he handled the upcoming situations. The 100 refinements treasure body technique 6th layer. Lu Chuanjin inwardly thought it was as expected. When he was at the 5th layer, his big brother could almost end the fights with 1 or 2 punches. Now that he had broken through to the 6th layer, couldn't he just bulldoze through the secret realm? He narrowed his eyes, smiled and nodded. Okay. Big brother, the people who came earlier were from the beast-taming Sioux family. Though I have dealt with them all, we might still be discovered by the Sioux family, so it's not suitable to stay here for long. Search * the Defied website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Chuanjin said this. Although he had slain all 4 members of the Sioux family, but the Sioux family, being a nascent soul-level force, might have some means to locate them. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.